Chapter 8:17. In just an hour, they found another elemental creature cave. They were really lucky tonight. After Yang Dingtian sneaked into the cave to investigate, there was no one inside, but he also did not see any elemental creatures. It was really strange. No wonder it was another demon spirit. It shouldn't be, right? Moreover, this cave was different from the previous one. Yang Dingtian turned around and told Yaoli about it. Yaoli also felt very strange. She had never encountered such a situation. It was not a demon spirit, but there were no elemental creatures either. Therefore, the six of them carefully entered the depths of the cave again. Sure enough, there was not a single figure in the huge cave. Moreover, compared to the other cave abodes, this cave was particularly neat and square, as if it was a room. Yang Dingtian and Yaoli looked at each other. They both had the idea of going out immediately, because a unique cave meant a unique elemental creature, or even a very, very powerful elemental creature. This cave looked empty, but it was definitely not empty. There would definitely be elemental creatures. Moreover, they were very powerful and unique. Yang Dingtian and the others felt that it was better not to take the risk. Then the six of them carefully retreated. Guests, since you're here, there's no need to leave. Suddenly, a dull sound came from the cave as if the entire cave was shaking. Because there was a vacuum everywhere, there was no sound transmitted through the air. However, this sound did indeed shake the entire cave and entered everyone's ears. It was indeed a very terrifying and powerful elemental creature. Then, they saw a stone golem directly crack out of the cave's stone wall and walk towards them. Its entire body was made of stone. Only its two eyes flickered with a somewhat transparent light. It looked about the same height as an ordinary person. It even had blurry facial features. After cracking off from the stone wall, it carved out stones and made a table and a stool. Then it stretched out its hand and said, "Everyone please." Yang Dingtian and the others were extremely flabbergasted when they saw this scene. None of the elemental creatures they had seen could speak, and none of them had intelligence. However, this stone golem could actually speak, and it could even speak the common language. Yang Dingtian and Yaoli looked at each other and asked if they should make a move. Yaoli shook her head. She had never seen such a strange elemental demonic beast before. It might be very powerful, but they could not act rashly. Yang Dingtian and the others sat down. "First, let me introduce myself," the stone man said. "My name is…" What's my name?" "Sorry, I don't know. I was once a stone statue that was buried with a certain master. Then I don't know why, but I came back to life." Yes. No one knew why the elements in the umbral realm had come alive and become elemental life forms. And then I lived aimlessly until a very, very long time ago, someone found me. He was wandering aimlessly in the endless dark world. He was bored to the extreme, so he asked me to follow him. He began to teach me how to speak and other things. Then he disappeared again, and I was left alone. The stone man sighed heavily. In the end, after a very, very long time, suddenly one day someone came again. I was very happy and planned to communicate with them. In the end, they didn't say anything and directly hit me. Then I killed all of them. Hearing this, Yang Dingtian's heart trembled. "By the way, you are here for that thing called energy essence, right?" the stone man asked. Yang Dingtian nodded. The stone man opened his hand. There were 5 energy essences in his palm. "In these countless years, I dug a cave and attracted people down. Then I killed many people," the stone man said indifferently. "The feeling of killing is really good. I didn't realize it before. Then, I also snatched their energy essences and found that I could devour them. So I specially dug caves everywhere to attract people down. I hunted them down and snatched their energy essences." Hearing this, Yang Dingtian shuddered. The stone man continued. "It's been more than 1,000 years. How many energy essences have I snatched? I don't know either. Maybe it's 1,000, 3,000 or more. I can't remember clearly. Now you are here." After the stone man finished speaking, he smiled at Yang Dingtian and the others. Immediately, Yang Dingtian's hair was about to stand on end. What the hell? He thought that he was lucky, but it turned out that he was too lucky and fell into a demon's den. He didn't expect that elemental creatures would hunt people when humans hunted elemental creatures. He had never heard of such a thing before. However, it was normal not to have heard of it, because the elemental creatures hunted were all dead. Okay. The stone man said. I know you are ready to make a move. Don't be like this. Don't use force, okay? Then, Yang Dingtian and the others only felt an incomparably powerful energy directly suppressed the entire huge cave. The 6 of them were completely unable to move. Yang Dingtian's demonic spirit mist cloak and invisibility were useless. As for Yao Li and the others, they were completely unable to move. This stone man didn't do anything at all. He actually directly restrained the 6 of them. This cultivation was completely heaven-defying. It was no longer something that could be described as a half-sage. If he wanted to kill Yang Dingtian, it would be completely effortless. 2 hours ago, I killed more than 10 people and snatched these 5 energy essences. The stone man waved gently. Immediately, more than 10 coffins cracked from the stone wall, and more than 10 pale corpses lay inside. These corpses were very, very terrifying and strange. That was because the skin on their bodies was messy. For example, some were clearly women's skin, but they were put on men's bodies. Therefore, some corpses had both women's breasts and men's sexual characteristics. Some corpses had bearded faces and women's characteristics below. In short, it was extremely strange, disgusting, and terrifying. Sorry, I'm very cruel when I attack, so I often don't have complete corpses. However, I can't bear to see them without complete corpses, but I forgot what they looked like, so I could only piece them together and bury them, the stone man said with pity. This was a devil. The stone man looked at Yang Dingtian. Then, let's wait and try not to attack, okay? Of course, it was better not to attack. If they attacked, they would die, and they would die very miserably. The stone man said, you also have energy essences on you. Take them out. Yang Dingtian took out 2 energy essences. One was level 15, and the other was level 11. How about this? These 2 energy essences and the lives of the 6 of you will be your wager. And my wager is these 5 energy essences. The stone man smiled and said, what do you think? Damn, this is your territory. You're so powerful. Of course, you can do whatever you want. Yao Li nodded. If I win, you will all be killed by me, and then the 2 energy essences will be mine. If I lose, you can live, and my 5 energy essences will be yours, the stone man said. Yao Li nodded. Okay, then our wager will begin. The stone man smiled and said, please choose 3 people to bet with me. 2 out of 3 wins. Yao Li was very decisive. She pointed out Yang Dingtian and Yao Zi. Bo Lu and Yang Dingtian were very surprised. Why did she ask Yao Zi to do it? Wasn't it more appropriate for Bo Lu to do it? But since Yao Li had already decided, so be it. Okay, then it's the 3 of you. The stone man took out a human bone and carved 3 dice on the spot. These dice were not brought by Yang Dingtian from Earth. They also had 6 faces in the chaotic world. The highest point was 6. The first round the stone man pointed at Yao Li. Then, he made a stone bowl and shook the dice hard. Finally, he put it on the table and asked Yao Li, is it big or small? More than 10 points was big, and less than 9 points was small. No one could cheat in the entire game. Under the stone man's incomparably powerful energy field, Yang Dingtian did not know the number of the dice in the stone bowl. Countless vengeful spirits could not be released at all. Yao Li immediately became incomparably nervous. Because winning or losing meant losing her life. A bead of cold sweat slid down her forehead. She bit her beautiful lips tightly. Now everything depended on luck. Big, Yao Li decided. Yang Dingtian could actually guess that she would choose big. This was decided by her personality. You lost, the stone man said indifferently. Yao Li said, you didn't see it. How do you know? The stone man said, I rolled the points. Of course I know. This gamble is actually betting on my understanding of human nature. I knew that you would choose big, so I specifically rolled small. The stone man opened the stone bowl. Sure enough, the points on it were small. Yao Li's face immediately turned pale. She held back her tears. She was always tough and stubborn. She could be easily seen through. That's right. Yang Dingtian could guess that she would choose big. and so could the stone man. This stone man was not gambling at all, but playing with people's hearts. Your turn. The stone man looked at Yang Dingtian. Then, he shook the dice fiercely, and finally slammed it on the table. He looked at Yang Dingtian and said, "This time of course I still know the points. Furthermore, this point was rolled based on my understanding of your personality. So you choose?" Yang Dingtian held his breath. Although this place was a vacuum, he still held his breath. His personality? What would he choose? Was he tough? Was he stubborn? If so, he would still choose big. However, he was considered to be tough on the outside but tough on the inside. He was definitely not as tough as Yao Li. He would never compromise on key issues. But in the details, Yang Dingtian did not care about compromising. For example, in order to join Yao Li's team this time, Yang Dingtian did not hesitate to bend down several times. In that case, he should choose small. However, clearly knowing that his personality was guessed by the other party, then Yang Dingtian would turn around and choose big. With this kind of twist and turn, the stone man guessed Yang Dingtian's personality and would open a small one. Then if Yang Dingtian carried out the reverse deduction, should it be small? Because the stone man speculated about Yang Dingtian, Yang Dingtian also speculated about the stone man. The result of this reverse deduction, Yang Dingtian should be small. Big. Yang Dingtian said directly. After saying that, Yang Dingtian broke out in cold sweat. His entire body went limp, as if he did not have any strength. Since he said the answer, then it was up to fate. If Yang Dingtian lost, the 6 people would lose their lives. The stone man was stunned and opened the stone bowl. 1. 18 points. Indeed, it could not be any bigger. Immediately, the 6 people's minds suddenly relaxed. Their small lives were finally saved by half. The stone man said in surprise, "According to your personality, you should have chosen small. Why did you choose big?" Yang Dingtian said, "I'm not very confident in my intelligence, so no matter what I deduced, giving the opposite answer might be better." The stone man was stunned. "That works." Finally, the stone man looked at Yao Zi and said, "Okay, it's your turn." Not only was Yao Zi not afraid, she was instead full of excitement and anticipation. This kind of thing seemed to be very exciting to her. The stone man continued to shake the dice. This time he shook it for a full 2 minutes. Then he slammed the stone bowl on the table and said, "Okay, you can guess now." "Big," Yao Zi said impatiently without hesitation. The stone man was even more surprised. Why? You didn't even think?" Yao Zi pointed at Yang Dingtian. "I want the same answer as him." The stone man was even more surprised. Why? Yao Zi said. "Anyway, you don't understand." The stone man lifted the stone bowl helplessly. It was indeed big, 18 points. "Wow, I'm so good." Yao Zi cheered. The stone man could have cheated, but he did not. Because to him, the real game was much more interesting. All these years, he had won almost all the time. Because he could always guess the thoughts of some people. Even if he could not guess one occasionally, he would still win if it was best of 3. The stone man pushed the 5 energy essences in his hand and handed them to Yao Li. "Okay, you win." Yao Li took all 5 energy essences. However, Yang Dingtian's heart didn't relax. Because so many years had passed, it was impossible that the stone man had not lost even once. However, no one had ever walked out of his cave abode. Because the legend of the stone man had never been spread in Little Western Paradise. So it was not over yet. However, Yang Dingtian pretended not to know anything and got up to leave. At that moment, the stone man suddenly said, "Oh right, there's one last bet. You'll answer, okay?" The stone man pointed at Yang Dingtian. As expected, Yang Dingtian nodded. "I'll ask a question. Do you answer yes or no? If you answer yes, I'll let you go. If you answer wrong, I'll kill you." The stone man smiled and said, "Okay?" Yang Dingtian nodded. "Do you think I'll let you go?" The stone man asked with a smile. Suddenly, the stone man's blurry face became extremely cunning. No matter how Yang Dingtian answered this question, it was a dead end. The answer was no. The answer in the stone man's heart was that he would not let them go. Because for hundreds of years, no one had left alive. So if he answered yes, he would answer wrong and die. If he answered that he would not let them go, congratulations, he would not let them go. He would stay and die. This incomparably powerful and incomparably boring stone man revealed the cunning and shamelessness of a powerhouse. At this time, almost everyone would bet that he would let them go. Therefore, everyone answered incorrectly and died. Yao Li's face turned cold, and she said, "You're shameless." The stone man smiled and said, "As a powerhouse, I'm already considered reasonable. Moreover, I've already given you 5 energy essences." Yao Li said, "But you said that if we won the bet just now, you wouldn't kill us." The stone man smiled and said, "But I didn't say that if you won, I would let you go." Yao Li still wanted to distinguish right from wrong, but was stopped by Yang Dingtian with a wave of his hand. The stone man said to Yang Dingtian, "You have to answer, because if you refuse to answer, you'll also lose and die." Yang Dingtian looked at the stone man. He would not answer yes, nor would he answer no, because that was death. Suddenly, Yang Dingtian looked at the stone man and said, "You said that a long, long time ago, the person who taught you how to speak was called Shiwu Piaoyan, right?" Immediately the stone cave trembled. Chapter 8:18. In an instant, all the expressions on the stone man's face froze. Previously, its expression had been very calm, but its human-like expression was very vivid. Now that it froze, it really looked like a statue. Yang Dingtian repeated again, "The person who taught you to speak is called Shiwu Piaoyan, right?" Finally, the stone man had an expression. He nodded and said, "Yes, how did you know?" As for Yao Li, she had also looked towards Yang Dingtian. Shiwu Piaoyan was a top secret in the human countries. Almost no one had heard of him. However, in Little Western Paradise he was indeed the most famous person. It was a name with a religious color. It was almost synonymous with the Savior. Although he did not succeed in saving the world. Because the cadence of your speech, even the tone, and the ending sound are all imitating him. Yang Dingtian said, "Also, your face was also carved by him. Although it has been eroded by time, and is a little blurry, I can still see that it is his work." The stone man fell into silence. After a long time he said again, "How did you know?" Yao Li also looked at Yang Dingtian again. Although the two questions were the same, the second one meant, "How did you know everything about Shiwu Piaoyan?" "Because I am almost his only direct descendant," Yang Dingtian said. Suddenly, Yao Li was shocked. That's right, Little Western Paradise looked down on humans very much, because the cultivation of humans was generally much lower than the demon fox nobles. However, this definitely did not include Shiwu Piaoyan, because in many works in Little Western Paradise, Shiwu Piaoyan as a human had broken through the limits of the philosophy of the chaotic species and reached the demigod level that only the Naga could reach. Even in the Little Western Paradise, this kind of level was definitely a high mountain that one could only look up to. As for Yang Dingtian, he was actually his only successor. Of course, whether it was Yao Li or Bolu, they were absolutely sure that Yang Dingtian would not lie. To a certain extent, Yang Dingtian would not lie, just like Yao Li would not lie. Although the two of them had different personalities, their characters were completely trustworthy. "Oh, no wonder," the stone man said. "But it's a pity. Although he was once my master, the person I hate the most now is him. So it's still useless. You still have to answer the question. If you answer wrong, I'll still kill you." Yang Dingtian was not surprised at all by this answer. Stone Golem felt that he had been abandoned, so he hated Shiwu Piaoyan to the core. Yang Dingtian, "Even if my answer is correct, you will still kill us." The stone golem nodded and said, "Yes, so no one who enters my trap can survive." Yang Dingtian, "I won't answer." "Then you will die too," the stone man said slowly. "However, I will definitely leave your corpse intact, because I can remember your face." "I won't answer." "We have to get out of here alive," Yang Dingtian said, "because I have to find traces of Shiwu Piaoyan. If I find him, I'll help you ask him why he abandoned you." Instantly, the stone golem trembled. "If I get the answer, no matter what, I will come back and tell you." Yang Dingtian continued, "If you let us out, I will help you find the answer to why you were abandoned. Whether there is an answer or not, I will come back and tell you. This is our agreement. The facial features of the blurry face shattered a little because of the emotional fluctuations, and the gravel fell down. Then its stone face twitched. It was a stone golem, so there were no tears. However, what Yang Dingtian said was the most painful thing in its heart, the thing that it hated the most, and the thing that it couldn't let go of. Back then, why did its master abandon it? He gave it wisdom, taught it to speak, and turned it from an ignorant life into an intelligent life that learned joy, anger, sorrow, and joy. The stone golem thought that it would always be like this. Until one day, its master disappeared, leaving it alone in the dark world. That feeling was completely indescribable. Although the stone golem was very powerful and had wisdom, however, its mind was still the same as a pet. A pet abandoned by its master, especially an intelligent pet, was the most painful. Moreover, it was left behind in this lonely dark world. Therefore, this pain tortured it, causing it to become dark and cruel. It specialized in hunting people for pleasure. It wasn't even for the sake of becoming stronger, because strength was useless to a stone man like it. Why did its master abandon it? It was a question that it could not answer, even if it exhausted all of its pain. Moreover, it would continue to torture it. If someone was willing to give it an answer, it was willing to pay a lot of things in exchange. The lives of Yang Dingtian and the others were nothing. I believe in your promise. You are a man of your words. The stone golem slowly said, I will wait for you here. Good, Yang Dingtian. Then tell me first, before coming to the second dark domain, where did you and master go? Many places, the stone golem said. But at that time, my wisdom had just been enlightened, so I could not remember too many things. Did he write or leave any scrolls in the second dark domain? Yang Dingtian asked. The stone golem fell into deep thought. It pondered for a full hour. I am very sorry, the stone golem said. I am not a true intelligent life form after all. I do not have a human brain, so I cannot store a lot of information. I can only store limited information. This so-called scroll of yours is probably not important in my eyes, so I did not store it. However, in the vague feedback from my memory it should be there. He did leave a scroll, but I cannot remember where it is. In the second dark domain? Yang Dingtian asked. Probably not, the stone golem said. Because after we came here, he spent almost all of his time thinking. Thank you for the information, Yang Dingtian. Then goodbye. Please, the stone golem said. Just like that, Yang Dingtian and the others returned to the surface. This trip was truly a frightening one. It seemed that they could not simply barge into any cave. No wonder 9 out of 10 people who entered the dark domain to cultivate did not return. It was simply too dangerous. Fortunately, Yang Dingtian was related to Shiwu Piaoyan. Otherwise he would have died 10 times over. After coming out, Yang Dingtian could not help but ask, Yaoli, what is the cultivation of this stone golem? I don't know. Yaoli shook her head and said, It's unfathomable. I can't see clearly. Yang Dingtian clicked his tongue. If even Yaoli could not see clearly, then what cultivation level was that? At least, it was a cultivation level that Yang Dingtian could not imagine. Yaoli continued. Moreover, over the years, there must have been many saint-level powerhouses who entered the stone golem's cave to cultivate in the dark domain. Some teams even had more than one saint-level powerhouse. However, they are all dead. From this, we can infer how strong this stone golem's cultivation is. Yang Dingtian, this stone golem is just your master's pet, and it is already so powerful. How powerful must your master be? Yao Zi's beautiful eyes were filled with little stars. Yaoli glared fiercely at Yao Zi, and then opened the energy jade box. There were 5 energy essences inside. It was the fruit of a team of more than 10 people that the stone golem had just killed. Yaoli picked out the largest one and handed it to Yang Dingtian. This should be the energy essence of an 11th level 9th grade. After fusing with the 11th level Balrog essence in your hand and devouring it together, you should be able to break through to the 10th level. Yang Dingtian took it. Then, Yaoli kept one for herself, gave one to Yao Zi, one to Bolu, and one to Awen and Awu. Yaoli said, Don't devour it here. It's too close to the cave. Someone might come. While the sky is still dark, let's find a place and devour the energy essences. Okay. Immediately, everyone continued to fly toward the north. In just a moment, they suddenly saw more than 10 figures. Immediately, Yang Dingtian, Yao Li, and the others felt as if they were facing a great enemy. Their hair stood on end as they drew their swords and prepared to fight. One should know that in the dark domain, everyone was a competitor. Even if they were familiar with each other in the little western paradise, they might draw their swords here. And when the other party discovered Yao Li, Yang Dingtian, and the others, their first reaction was to draw their weapons. Yang Dingtian could only pray that they were not Yao Lung's people. Isn't this the princess of the Golden Ah clan, Sister Yao Li? Suddenly, an enchanting and sarcastic voice came from the opposite side. When Yao Li saw who it was, she frowned and sheathed her sword. Yao Luo, the daughter of a high noble from Silver City. Her clan's elder was once the deputy chairman of His Excellency Yongxi, Yao Li said. Sometimes there was a deputy chairman of Little Western Paradise, and sometimes there wasn't. When a family contributed a lot to a chairman, and the chairman had to rely on this family for many things, he would choose a representative from this family to be his deputy chairman. Yang Dingtian looked up and saw that this Yao Luo was extremely seductive. Even in the dark domain, she was still dressed very sexily. As for the dozen or so people around her, they were all demon fox males. It was obvious that they were all her protectors. Seeing Yang Dingtian looking over, Yao Luo hooked her hand and said, "Mister, don't follow Yao Li anymore. Follow me. You'll definitely be rewarded." After saying that, she even cast a seductive glance at Yang Dingtian and bent down, making the cleavage in front of her chest even deeper. Presumably, she used this method to recruit helpers. "Thank you," Yang Dingtian said with a smile, and then ignored her. Yao Luo was snubbed. She curled her lips and said, "Another blind toad. Yao Li only has the chairman in her eyes. She doesn't care about toads like you." Then, she led the dozen escorts and headed south, in the direction of the stone man's cave. Yao Li hesitated for a moment and said, "Yao Luo, although I hate you, I have to tell you, don't go south anymore. There's danger ahead." Yao Luo's beautiful eyes turned and said, "It should be the opposite. There must be elemental creatures ahead. You guys can't beat them and ran away. But you don't want to let us off easy. But I want to go, hee." After that, Yao Luo laughed lasciviously and flew towards the south at lightning speed. These dozen people were dead for sure. They were going to become the stone man's prey again. Yao Li shook her head. Then, the 6 of them put away their swords and continued to fly north. Finding a relatively secluded place, Yao Li said, "Yang Dingtian, devour the energy essence. Bolu and I will stand guard for you." Yang Dingtian did not argue and nodded. Then, he fused the energy essence of the rank 11 fire demon, and in rank 11 rank 9 energy essence together. Immediately, it turned into a faint purple energy essence. Then, Yang Dingtian sat cross-legged on the ground, closed his eyes, and began to devour the energy essence in his hand. Boom! Immediately, this energy essence that was infinitely close to the 12th rank poured into Yang Dingtian's mystic meridians, and into his chi vessel like an avalanche. This energy was really too domineering. When it poured into Yang Dingtian's energy reserve, Yang Dingtian almost couldn't bear it. Before he broke through, a golden light flashed in front of his eyes, and he almost fainted instantly. Yang Dingtian poured in all his willpower, and forced himself to stay awake. He continued to devour the energy essence. An energy essence that was close to rank 12 was indeed incomparably powerful. Originally, it was very difficult to break through from the 9th rank to the 10th rank, because it involved the concept of rank. Just like breaking through from rank 9 revered martial artist to master, or breaking through from rank 9 martial artist to great grandmaster, it was all very difficult. Of course, breaking through from rank 9 to rank 10 was definitely not as difficult as breaking through to great grandmaster. Because the most difficult hurdle was between rank 9 and rank 15. It was only a quarter of an hour. Yang Dingtian's energy reserve was completely filled. Then it began to expand. Boom! The entire energy reserve suddenly exploded. Then his entire body sank into nothingness. He very smoothly broke through to rank 10 powerhouse. However, the devouring of the energy essence was not over yet. Endless amounts of energy continued to pour into his body. Soon, Yang Dingtian's energy reserve was once again filled to the brim. Boom! Instantly, Yang Dingtian once again sank into nothingness. His cultivation had once again broken through to the first grade of the 10th rank. However, the devouring of the energy essence still continued. Yao Li, who was at the side, was stunned. Yang Dingtian's profound veins and energy reserve were actually so heaven-defying. His utilization of the energy essence was actually so high. Under such circumstances, the Demon Fox High Noble would at most break through to rank 10 powerhouse before exhausting his energy. However, Yang Dingtian was actually able to break through again. In the end, Yang Dingtian did not break through to rank 10 rank 2. He was only a little bit away, but it was already enough to shock everyone. After devouring, Yang Dingtian felt his own cultivation. Compared to when he was a 9-star ranked 9 Great Grandmaster, his current cultivation was about 7 to 8 times. Yao Li looked at Yang Dingtian. You're really much more special than I thought. Now, I'm really looking forward to seeing how long you'll take to break through to rank 15 half-saint. Yang Dingtian, I can't say how much I'll break through. I can only stay here for a year at most. Then I'll go to another dark realm. So we have to race against time. I suggest that we don't hide to rest during the day. Continue to cultivate. Yao Li thought for a while and suddenly nodded. After the sun rose, Yang Dingtian and the other 5 did not enter the cave to rest. Instead, they continued to explore and hunt. Time flowed like water, quickly passing by. Soon 2 months had passed. Chapter 819. The harvest in these short 2 months had completely exceeded the imagination of Yao Li and the others. It was simply too crazy. Previously, it would often take a year and a half to successfully hunt one elemental creature, because it was too difficult to search for elemental creatures in such an extremely dark environment. That was right, there were indeed many elemental creatures in the dark realm. But basically, they would only be discovered when they were digging a cave. And the time that the cave existed was usually not long, and it would be completely submerged by magma during the day. So it was often that a cave would appear in a place that had just been explored 2 hours ago, and then one would miss the opportunity forever. But with Yang Dingtian, it was completely different. In less than 10 minutes, he would be able to search every inch of the area within 100 miles. The countless wraiths of the million spirit demon fire were more powerful than the most powerful radar. In fact, Little Western Paradise had developed many similar energy detectors, but there was no doubt that they had all failed, because all the energy particles with life could not survive in the dark realm. In these 2 months, Yao Li's team had a harvest every day. Not only did they have a harvest at night, but after obtaining Yang Dingtian's sunglasses, they also had a harvest during the day. At the very least, they could hunt 1 elemental creature a day. At the very most, there were 4. Speaking of which, when Yang Dingtian first entered the dark realm, even with the detection of wraiths, he could not find a single one for 10 days to half a month. First of all, it was because he had detected wrongly and did not discover the cave, but thought that these elemental creatures would swim on the ground. Secondly, that was the starting point of the second dark realm. After countless years of hunting, most of the elemental creatures had long been killed. And here, they were already more than 20,000 miles deep into the second dark realm, so their harvest was naturally much greater. In these 2 months, Yao Li's team had hunted a total of 129 elemental creatures, which meant that they had a total of 129 energy essences. The highest level, level 11, class 8. The lowest level, level 9, class 5. Why was the highest level only level 11, class 8? They must have encountered an elemental creature of a higher level. But they did not fight it, because there was no need to risk their lives. After Yang Dingtian went invisible to take a look, as long as it was above level 12, he gave up. Elemental creatures of the 12th rank were very powerful. Yang Dingtian's team was very difficult to eliminate, and there would definitely be casualties. In the past 2 months, They had given up more than a dozen elemental creatures of grade 12 and above. Not only that, there were also more than 50 caves that had given up because there were already people fighting. In the end, Yang Dingtian received a total of 50 elemental essences. Yao Li received 30 while Yao Zi received 20. Bolu was given 15. The Awen and Awu brothers received 14. That's right, the ratio seemed a little off. Yao Zi got more and Bolu got less. In reality, Yao Li's way of dividing was already benevolent to the extreme. In Little Western Paradise, the hierarchy was very strict. As retainers, Bolu, Awen, and Awu didn't have the power to divide the profits. How much was given depended entirely on the master's gift. Therefore, the ratio that the three of them received was already unprecedented. Because of Yang Dingtian's existence, Bolu, Awen, and Awu's gains had completely surpassed those of the young masters of the large clans who had teams of dozens of people. After 2 months of hunting and devouring, Yao Li had broken through to the 8th rank of the 11th rank, from the 5th rank of the 11th rank. Bolu had also broken through to the 5th rank of the 11th rank, from the 3rd rank of the 11th rank. The Awen and Awu brothers had also broken through to the 9th rank of the 9th rank. Yao Zi had broken through to the 9th rank of the 9th rank, from the beginner of the 9th rank. She was also facing a breakthrough to the 10th rank. As for Yang Dingtian, he had received 50 energy essences. Moreover, Yao Li had also given a considerable portion of the high-level energy essences to him. Out of the 50 energy essences, he had synthesized 5 energy essences of the 9th rank of the 11th rank. After devouring, Yang Dingtian had broken through to the 7th rank of the 10th rank, from the 1st rank of the 10th rank. That's right. It seemed that Yang Dingtian's breakthrough wasn't as great as Yao Zi's. But there was no other way. The further one went, the harder it was to break through. Moreover, a breakthrough in the dark realm was already considered very heaven-defying. Directly devouring energy to break through was unimaginable in the human countries. Now, Yang Dingtian was becoming more and more suspicious. How exactly did Wulingzi break through to the half-saint level? This didn't make sense. Now, Yang Dingtian could clearly feel that the infinite great master level was already the limit of cultivation in the human countries. It was impossible to break through to the half-saint level with normal cultivation. Otherwise, Zhu Qingzhu wouldn't have left the human countries to seek breakthroughs in other places. That was because the celestial qi energy in the human countries was getting thinner by the day. Even though Yang Dingtian's breakthrough was fast, 2 months had passed. However, 2 months had passed, and there were still 10 months before he would leave the second dark domain. At this rate, it was absolutely impossible for him to break through to the 15th rank. That was because the further one went, the more difficult it would be. Moreover, at the same rank, demon beasts were stronger than humans. Elemental creatures were stronger than demon beasts. Therefore, he had to wait until Yao Li and Bo Lu broke through to the 12th rank before he dared to fight the 12th rank elemental creatures. At this rate, it would be heaven-defying for Yang Dingtian to break through to the 13th rank after leaving the Dark Realm. That night, the 6 of them had completely recovered their battle's celestial qi. Then, they would set off again for a hunting adventure. In these 2 months, the 6 of them had traveled another 5,000 miles to the north. At this time, they were nearly 30,000 miles into the second Dark Realm. 2 months. 5,000 miles sounded very short, right? But this wasn't running. It was a careful search. Almost every inch was not missed. 5,000 miles to the north was equivalent to searching 20 million square kilometers. It was equivalent to the size of Russia. Even if Yang Dingtian used countless wraiths to search, this area was still very heaven-defying. Hopefully, our luck will be better today, Yao Li said, because the Great Taboo Day is coming soon. At that time, all hunting will have to stop. We will all have to hide in deep caves. Great Taboo Day? Yang Dingtian couldn't help but be stunned. What's that? In half a month, it will be the Great Taboo Day. On that night, the 2 moons will appear in the Dark Realm. Yao Li said. At that time, countless wraiths and ghosts will crawl out of the ground and absorb the energy of the 2 moons. Are they ghosts and wraiths? Yang Dingtian asked. Yes, Yao Li said. Young Dingtian asked, "Are they the wraiths of these elemental creatures?" "No, these elemental creatures have no souls, so there are no wraiths." Yao Li said, "Countless years ago, the Dark Realm was still a continent of vitality. There were many powerhouses and monsters on it. The Great Nirvana suddenly came, and countless people and monsters died. Then, the wraiths of these people and monsters occupied this Dark Realm." Yang Dingtian said in surprise, That was at least 10,000 years ago." "Yes," Yao Li said. "The Dark Realm we are in, if I'm not wrong, should still belong to the human kingdom 10,000 years ago." Yang Dingtian immediately clicked his tongue. Martial arts in the human kingdom, at that time, was very glorious. Then, wouldn't there be many saint-level wraiths? Wouldn't there be hundreds of millions or billions of wraiths? Yao Li said, "Not so many. In fact, even wraiths find it difficult to survive in the Dark Realm. So the relatively weak wraiths have been turned into ashes. Only powerful wraiths and wraiths that keep devouring other wraiths are left." Yang Dingtian said, "I once killed countless wraiths in the Ghost Netherland. You also know that my lightning talent is very amazing. My mystic fire lightning can directly reach the attack power of a 15th level half-saint." Yao Li said firmly, "You want to hunt wraiths on the Great Taboo Day?" "Yes," Yang Dingtian said. "The Great Taboo Day, and the night of 10,000 wraiths, is an extremely terrifying thing for anyone else. Because wraiths are not afraid of any damage, except for lightning. But for us, it is indeed a huge opportunity." "No," Yao Li said. "You can't imagine how many wraiths there will be. We may encounter hundreds, thousands, or even more at any time. The level of the wraiths here is beyond your imagination. Half-saints and even saint-level wraiths may appear at any time. Once we encounter them, we will die without a doubt. And your invisibility is ineffective against wraiths." Yang Dingtian's heart was still restless. Yao Li continued, "And the most important thing is that if you destroy the wraiths, you won't have energy essence. It's useless." In an instant, Yang Dingtian immediately gave up. If there was no energy essence, then what was the point of hunting? Temporarily abandoning this thought, Yang Dingtian and Yao Li led the 6 people to continue to search for elemental creatures and continue to hunt. But tonight's luck seemed to be so. It was almost dawn when they discovered an energy fluctuation. After Yang Dingtian turned invisible, he found that it was a 10th level fire demon. In fact, Yang Dingtian could kill this fire demon alone at this time. But he still called down all the other team members and killed this 10th level fire demon together. This way, everyone would have a full sense of participation and would not feel like they were being bestowed a gift. Then it was daytime. In the past, there would be at least one harvest during every daytime. And this daytime, Yang Dingtian explored tens of thousands of square kilometers and did not find any energy fluctuation, nor did he find a single elemental creature. Everyone's expression suddenly became slightly gloomy. Only Yao Zi was still in a cheerful mood. It was as if she did not know what was called unhappy. It was fine if there was no harvest during the day. After the second night, there was actually no harvest all the way until dawn. That's right, 0 harvest. This was the first time since the team was formed. In the past, there would be at least one every night. Sometimes there would be 2 or even 3. There had never been 0 harvest. Very soon, the following day was still 0 harvest. It was night again and still 0 harvest. Just like this, time passed day by day. There was actually 0 harvest every day. It was as if all the elemental creatures were completely dormant in the depths of the cave, not digging holes, let alone coming to the surface. Of course, until now, Yang Dingtian still could not understand why these elemental creatures would dig holes to the surface. After the 8th day, Yao Li said, "Forget it, there's no need to explore for the next 7 days. There won't be any harvest." Everyone nodded in agreement. The reason was very clear. It was because almost all the elemental creatures hunted in the Dark Realm leaned towards the positive side. Although many seemed neutral, they were still leaning towards the positive side in the end. As for water and ice elemental creatures, Yang Dingtian had not encountered a single one. First of all, water, as the source of life, absolutely did not exist in the dark realm. Although ice elemental creatures were of the negative side, they could not leave water most of the time, so there were no ice elemental creatures in the dark realm. The great taboo day was coming soon, and the 2 moons would shine on the dark realm. When that time came, the Yin energy would envelop the entire dark realm. Therefore, all the positive elemental creatures would not be able to avoid it. So how could they dig holes and let the Yin energy seep in? What's more, if there was an insensible undead spirit that sneaked into their cave abode, there would be a fight. Moreover, the elemental creatures would basically lose, because the revenants were only sensitive to lightning attacks and were immune to all other attacks. Let's start digging holes and wait for the great taboo day to pass, Yaoli said. When that time comes, it will be very, very cold. Then, the 6 of them gave up on hunting and chose a relatively remote place to start digging holes. Yang Dingtian was the absolute main force in hunting monsters, and Yang Dingtian was the main force of the main force in digging holes. It should be known that the ground of the second dark realm was like metal, almost impenetrable. Although the other 5 had powerful weapons, it was more laborious to dig. Only Yang Dingtian's soul sword, which was close to the emperor grade, was able to dig the ground as though it was digging the soil. Whoosh 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 whoosh. In just a few hours, the 6 of them had dug a hole dozens of meters deep, but that was not enough. They spent another day digging the hole to a depth of 200 meters. Then at night, they began to expand the hole and dug out a room dozens of square meters. Since they had nothing to do, Yang Dingtian even dug out a layout with 4 rooms, 1 living room, and 2 bathrooms. Yang Dingtian had 1 room, Yao Li and her sister had 1, Bo Lu had 1, and A1 and Awu had 1. Moreover, the bathroom and bathroom were separated into male and female bathrooms. In the female bathroom, Yang Dingtian even made a large bathtub. Yao Zi was overjoyed at that. She very extravagantly filled the bathtub with condensation pills, then let Yang Dingtian use mystic fire to heat it into warm water, and she began to take a luxurious bath. Not only that, but Yang Dingtian also began to cook. He took out fresh fruits and fresh meat, and even seasoning. Therefore, in the next few days, the 6 of them lived the most leisurely and ordinary life. Eating, talking, sleeping, and even bathing. Just like that, they waited for the great taboo day to come and end. Then one night, when Yang Dingtian was lying on the bed and sleeping, the Nether Ghost Emperor in the Soul Ring suddenly spoke. Yang Dingtian, let's make a deal. On the great taboo day, you go up and hunt undead for me to devour. I'll help you refine the undead's hell magic crystal into energy essence. How about it? Yang Dingtian said in shock. The undead's hell magic crystal can be refined into energy essence? The Nether Ghost Emperor said. Of course you can. Strictly speaking, undead are also elemental creatures. Its hell magic crystal is filled with death chi, so living people can't devour it. But as the Nether Ghost Emperor, I can easily absorb the death chi inside, leaving only the energy essence for you to devour. Yang Dingtian's heart trembled. At that time, there would be countless powerful undead on the ground. The harvest of a hunt might be extremely bountiful. Then why didn't you say so before? Yang Dingtian suddenly asked angrily. The Nether Ghost Emperor chuckled and didn't say anything. Of course he wouldn't say it, because if he did, Yang Dingtian would split the undead's energy essence, and the Nether Ghost Emperor wouldn't be able to take it all for himself. This time, because there was no other way, the Nether Ghost Emperor revealed this secret. Yang Dingtian, this is a feast that belongs to us. Don't miss it. If you miss it, you won't have another chance. The Nether Ghost Emperor said. Before Yang Dingtian could answer, a ghostly figure suddenly walked in. It was Yaozi. She was dressed very lightly, with only a doo-doo and panties. This girl was too bold. Chapter 820. For the past 2 months, Yaoli had been watching him like he was a thief. Of course, the thief was not Yang Dingtian. Yaoli trusted Yang Dingtian a lot now. The thief was her sister Yaozi. Yaoli wanted nothing more than to tie Yaozi to her waist 24 hours a day. That was because Yaozi did not hide her feelings for Yang Dingtian anymore. Not only did she not hide it, but she showed it all the time. How did Yang Dingtian feel? First of all, Yang Dingtian liked Yaozi very much. He had rarely seen such a naive, romantic, cute, and passionate girl. However, being liked by Yaozi was like being liked by a middle school teacher by a female student. Female students, the 15 or 16-year-old kind. Yang Dingtian was trembling with fear, as if he was walking on thin ice. First of all, he could not be too affectionate. That was for sure. One had to know that in the little Western paradise, Yaozi was equivalent to a 15 or 16-year-old girl. Secondly, he could not be too cold. That would hurt a pure and innocent girl's heart. This degree was very difficult to grasp. Therefore, Yang Dingtian tried his best to recall how the beautiful English teacher in middle school treated him. That was right. Yang Dingtian had been in love with his beautiful English teacher in middle school. Anyway, although he had the 9 Yangxian veins, before he got his first girlfriend in university, he liked no less than 7 or 8 girls. There were only 2 or 3 who he liked for a long time. Therefore, when Yaozi sneaked over, Yang Dingtian was so nervous that his heart almost twitched. If someone saw this, he would not be able to explain himself. Yaozi quickly sat on Yang Dingtian's bed and said in a low voice, "Mr. Yang Dingtian, my sister is bathing. I came over to talk to you." Yang Dingtian's scalp went numb. He said, "If you have anything to say, you can say it tomorrow during dinner. It's not convenient to say it now." Yaozi said, "But there are some things that are only suitable for 2 people to say in private." Yang Dingtian, "But it's really inappropriate for a man and a woman to enter my room alone." "What's wrong with that?" Yaozi asked. "I'm all grown up now. I have the right to pursue the man I like." As soon as he heard this sentence, he knew that it was said by the little girl. Yang Dingtian was completely speechless. "But my daughter is almost as old as you. Besides, I already have several wives." Yaozi said, "As long as you like her, age is not an issue. Also, why do you have to talk about it so far away? You don't have to ask for eternity. You just want to have it once. Every girl has to love at least once." Hearing these childish words, Yang Dingtian felt like his scalp was about to be ripped open. It was like a chicken talking to a duck. There was a generation gap, a generation gap. Yaozi continued, "Besides, me liking you is my business. It has nothing to do with you." This sentence sounded even more childish. Yang Dingtian did not say anything. He could only look up at the ceiling. "Mr. Yang Dingtian, why don't you teach me how to kiss? I've never kissed before." Yaozi said excitedly and shyly, "Giving your first kiss to the man you like should be a very blissful thing." "Well, I'm a little hungry. I'm going to eat." Yang Dingtian quickly crawled out from under the blanket and ran toward the living room. Yang Dingtian fled in panic. He was completely unable to deal with such a young girl. Yang Dingtian had just opened the door and ran out when he immediately bumped into a soft and bouncy body. It was Yaoli. Caught off guard, she stumbled and almost fell to the ground. Yang Dingtian hurriedly helped her up. Her skin was really smooth and bouncy. Of course, Yaoli's cultivation was very high. She would not fall after being bumped into. However, everyone here was on the same side. Moreover, it was like home. No one knew martial arts or celestial qi. "Is the little girl with you?" Yaoli asked. Yang Dingtian nodded. He looked at Yaoli again. Her voluptuous body was simply wrapped in a layer of silk. It was obvious that when she was bathing, she realized that Yaozi was not in the room. She did not even have time to put on her clothes before running over. Yaoli was so angry that she panted heavily. She said coldly, "This little girl is asking for a beating again." Then with a cold expression, she directly entered Yang Dingtian's room. Then there was the sound of quarreling and debate. The cave was no longer a vacuum. There was a special pill that kept releasing air. There was a special pill that kept absorbing the air. Then, the quarreling became louder and louder. Yaoli's voice became angrier and angrier. She could not win against her younger sister at all. She was not good with words. Yaozi, on the other hand, was full of theories. Therefore, like all parents, if she could not be reasoned with, she would start beating. Inside, there was the sound of spanking. Yaozi was screaming and yelling about the freedom to love. At the same time, she was yelling about breaking off ties with Yaoli. In the end, the little girl shouted, Yao Li, you old virgin. No wonder no man likes you. You'll never get married. Then the sound of spanking stopped. It was quiet inside. Then Yao Zi said timidly, Sister, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. Slap. 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 What she got in return was Yao Li slapping her harder. However, Yang Dingtian could not hear any of this. He was too embarrassed to listen. He ran directly to Bo Lu's room and played chess with him. In the past few days, Yang Dingtian finally took out all the chess, go and poker cards. Sometimes he played do diju, sometimes chess, and sometimes go bang. In less than 2 days, Bo Lu's chess skills had surpassed Yang Dingtian's. Yao Zi's do diju and go bang also beat Yang Dingtian in seconds. The only one who was dumber than Yang Dingtian was Yao Li. Her brain was really one-track minded. She lost more than she won. Although he didn't know what happened, Bo Lu could roughly guess. He immediately looked at Yang Dingtian sympathetically. Princess Yao Zi has always been very likable, but she's also very troublesome. Children in the rebellious stage are all like this. Yang Dingtian asked, Brother Bo Lu, do you have a child? Bo Lu shook his head and said, I'm not married. It was very common to not be married in Little Western Paradise. There were quite a number of high-level demon fox bloodlines who were celibate. Yang Dingtian asked, Don't you plan to fight for it? Of course, he was talking about fighting for Yao Li. Bo Lu shook his head and said, Little Western Paradise is not a human country. If I fight for it, it won't be just my tragedy, but the tragedy and humiliation of my entire family. The strict hierarchy of Little Western Paradise is something you can't imagine. Yang Dingtian said, Perhaps you can come and live in the human country. One of my martial uncles. His lover is the little princess demon spirit of the Silver Moon Demon Fox clan in Little Western Paradise. Really? Bo Lu was shocked. Of course. Yang Dingtian said, Brother Bo Lu, you're too restricted by the rules. Many things aren't so rigid. Bo Lu's eyes showed a trace of yearning. Then he shook his head and said, I still can't do it. She's my mistress. I can't get past this. And most importantly, her heart belongs to someone. That's her life goal. Of course, Bo Lu was talking about Yao Qi. Instantly, Yang Dingtian had the urge to say that Yao Qi was dead. But he still didn't say it. If Yao Li knew, she would collapse. No matter what, I'll invite you to the human country as guests, Yang Dingtian said. Definitely. Bo Lu said. Unfortunately, we can only go out after 200 years. Not necessarily, Yang Dingtian said. If you want to go out, I can take you out at any time. Bo Lu was stunned and didn't continue to ask. But he had absolute trust in Yang Dingtian's words. In the next few days, a cold war broke out between Yao Zi and Yao Li. Both sides ignored each other. As for Yao Zi, although she didn't sneak into Yang Dingtian's room anymore, she acted more intimate. Especially in front of Yao Li, she acted intimate on purpose. Yang Dingtian almost didn't dare to play chess or cards with her. Just like that, happy times flew by. The great taboo day was getting closer and closer. Tomorrow was the great taboo day. Yang Dingtian finally decided to talk to Yao Li. Yao Li, first of all, I have to tell you that the ruler of the Nether Plane, the Nether Ghost Emperor, lives in my soul ring. A Nether Ghost flame that already has a soul, thoughts, and ambitions. A Nether Ghost flame that's been around for almost 10,000 years. Yang Dingtian. Now, his underworld empire has been taken away by the demon king Wentian. He's only left in his weakened state, living in my soul ring. Yao Li's beautiful eyes were filled with surprise. Because of the dark realm, the people in Little Western Paradise weren't crazy about mystic flames. But they were still very familiar with the 10 heaven and earth mystic flames. They even looked forward to it. At least in Little Western Paradise, every time the mystic flame bloomed, many powerful people would go to fight for it. Even the high nobles in Little Western Paradise were very crazy about Nether Ghost Flame and space-splitting fire. Otherwise, Yao Qi wouldn't have died for the space-splitting fire. Undead, in a sense, are elemental creatures. After killing them, hell magic crystals will be produced. And after washing away the death aura in the hell magic crystals, they will become pure energy essence, Yang Dingtian. And the only thing in the world that can wash away the death aura is the Nether Ghost flame. Yaoli said, that means the Nether Ghost Emperor in your soul ring can wash away the hell magic crystals and turn them into energy essence. Yes, Yang Dingtian. He said that he would get half of the hell magic crystals. Yaoli said, is he very strong? Is he strong enough to kill powerful undead? Yang Dingtian shook his head and said, he's just a soul. He lost his powerful physical body and was attacked fiercely in the ghost hell land. He was almost turned into ashes. His current cultivation level is probably only level 10. Yaoli looked at Yang Dingtian. Yang Dingtian, are you asking for my opinion? Because you know that among all of us, only you have lightning energy and can attack undead. So you should know that we will definitely stay underground and won't follow you to the surface to hunt undead. So whether you go or not is completely up to you. No one else can influence you. Yang Dingtian. I know, but because you are the leader of the team, I still have to respect your opinion. And if something happens to me, it will also affect the interests of the video team. Yaoli was silent for a moment, then suddenly said, Yang Dingtian, in the human countries they should love you very much. Yang Dingtian couldn't help but be stunned. He was clearly asking for Yaoli's opinion, so why did she say that? Yaoli said, you are the leader of the entire human race, and your position is much higher than mine. You are an absolutely wise and noble leader. But in this small team, you are willing to obey me, a leader who isn't very smart. Your breadth of mind is definitely loved and trusted by everyone. Yang Dingtian was suddenly very unnatural from the praise, but he didn't know how to respond. Yao Li's face became serious and said, if I give my opinion, are you willing to respect it? Of course. Yang Dingtian. In this team, I am willing to obey your will. Yao Li said, first of all, I am a very unqualified leader. I am very short-sighted, and I value the gains and losses in front of me more. In other words, I don't want any accidents to happen to you, so I don't want you to hunt undead, because your concealment mystic skill is useless against undead. And your netherworld ghost emperor cultivation is currently too low. If you encounter undead of half-saint level and above, you won't be able to escape, and your life will definitely be in danger. I feel that you shouldn't bet your life on luck, and the stakes aren't high, so it's not worth it. Yang Dingtian was silent for a moment, then nodded and said, okay, then I won't go, and I will listen to your opinion. Yao Li looked at Yang Dingtian for a long time, and said, it's a pity that you haven't met my elder brother Yao Qi. Otherwise you would have become close friends. Even though the two of you are different, you are both the most outstanding leaders I have ever seen. Yang Dingtian immediately felt uncomfortable, but he still didn't tell her the news of Yao Qi's death. Just like that, Yang Dingtian listened to Yao Li's opinion and didn't go to the surface to take risks. In this warm underground family, they quietly waited for the end of the great taboo day, and Yao Li used a very clumsy method to comfort Yang Dingtian's heart that couldn't take risks, which was to play cards with her. And then the two of them faced each other. Yao Zi and Bolu faced each other, and they played to upgrade the tractor. In the end, Yang Dingtian and Yao Li never won. They decided to play cards like this and wait for the end of the great taboo day. But many times many things were destined. They wanted to quietly wait for the end of the great taboo day, but they couldn't do it, because they heard the sound of digging getting closer and closer. It seemed like someone was also digging an underground cave nearby to avoid the great taboo day. The six of them quickly stopped the game, then pulled out their swords and prepared to fight. If it wasn't an enemy, then it would be peaceful. If it was an enemy, then a battle was unavoidable. Yang Dingtian and the others just waited with their swords, waiting for the person on the other side to dig through the wall and see if it was an enemy, a friend, or a neutral party. As long as it wasn't an enemy, it didn't matter. Because this time, they weren't fighting for elemental creatures, so there was no need to fight to the death. The wall was quickly dug through. The worst result was that the other party was Yao Lung of the Moro clan. Yao Lung, who had his rank 15 energy essence stolen, wanted to kill Yang Dingtian and the others. Chapter 821. Yang Dingtian's luck was truly indescribable. Either he was extremely lucky or extremely unlucky. Yao Lung's group dug a cave to avoid the Great Taboo Day, and actually dug straight into Yang Dingtian's cave. With such a probability, they could directly buy a lottery ticket. The bidder at the front of the other party was stunned at first, then revealed ecstasy and said loudly, "Young master, that bitch Yao Li is here." Then swoosh, 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 the dozens of people behind him all suddenly pulled out their sharp swords. They were only waiting for Yao Lung's order to immediately crush Yang Dingtian and everyone else into pieces. Ha 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 ha. 100 meters away, Yao Lung's complacent and arrogant laughter suddenly came. "There's a path to heaven, but you refuse to take it. There's no door to hell, but you insist on barging in. Go!" While Yao Lung was still talking, Yang Dingtian suddenly became like a flash. Holding Yao Li in his left hand and Yao Zi in his right hand, he quickly tied up Bo Lu, A Wen, and A Wu with ropes. Swoosh! Then, using the demonic spirit mist cloak flash technique, they quickly escaped to the surface along the cave. There was no other way. They could only escape to the surface. And Yao Lung's complacent laughter over there was not over yet. He said coldly, "Yao Li, last time, it was me who raped and killed you first. This time, it's all of us who will rape and kill you first. Ha ha ha." Suddenly, someone said timidly, "Young master, they've already run away." "What?" Yao Lung said sternly. "How could they possibly run away?" That person said, "We were waiting for your order." With a swoosh, they suddenly disappeared. Yao Lung said, "That human Yang Dingtian, yes, that human Yang Dingtian, they're together." Then the cold voice suddenly became sharp. Rush up, catch them. I want them to taste the taste of hell. I want them to beg for death, but they won't be able to die." Yes. Then, more than 20 experts rushed to the surface along the cave. Yang Dingtian carried 2 people, tied up 3 people, and fled to the surface in a flash. At this moment 2 incomparably huge round moons suddenly rose into the sky. "Wow, it's so cold." Yao Zi could not help but touch her arm. It was indeed very cold. The temperature here was definitely a few dozen degrees below zero. Yang Dingtian and Yao Li looked at each other helplessly. Even though they had decided not to risk their lives on the surface during the Great Taboo Day, they still had to come to the surface. At this moment, a hair-raising scene appeared. One by one, ghostly figures and undead creatures suddenly crawled out from the ground. There were more and more of them. At the same time, the experts of the Moro clan also rushed out of the cave. "Over there. Capture them," a Moro expert said. Then, hundreds of undead turned their heads and looked at them. Almost all of the Moro clan's experts felt their hair stand on end. At this moment, there were at least a few hundred undead creatures between them and Yang Dingtian. What were undead? Immune to all forms of damage, with the exception of lightning-type mystical skills. If they wanted to catch Yang Dingtian, they would have to go through these hundreds of undead. Just thinking about this made the Moro clan's experts shudder. In any case, that bitch Yao Li was surrounded by countless undead creatures and was doomed. Thus, the Moro clan's experts pretended that nothing had happened and carefully walked into the cave. Whoosh 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 whoosh. In the blink of an eye, all of the Moro clan's experts disappeared without a trace. Then, they used a special type of energy stone to seal the cave. In the blink of an eye, all of the Moro clan's experts had escaped underground and disappeared without a trace. Then, the 4 rooms, 2 living rooms and 2 bathrooms that Yang Dingtian had painstakingly dug out were enjoyed by Yao Lung. At this moment, Yang Dingtian and the others were being surrounded by countless undead spirits. It was an inhumane scene. What to do? What to do? It was a pity that Wumaji was not here. Otherwise, the shaman would have been able to protect them from the undead creatures. More and more undead creatures of various levels surrounded Yang Dingtian and the others, and the light in their eyes became more and more intense. The reason why they had not attacked yet was that they had just woken up from their endless slumber and had not fully recovered. They were still in a rather chaotic state. Once they had fully recovered, countless undead creatures would swarm over and completely destroy Yang Dingtian and the others. There were a few thousand departed souls present, and they were of various ranks. If Yang Dingtian were to wait for them to attack, he would be in a situation worse than death. Yang Dingtian summoned the Netherworld Ghost Emperor and said, "Ghost Emperor, there are so many undead here. Come out and devour them." The Ghost Emperor stammered, "I don't seem to be feeling too well. I won't come out for now. You guys go ahead." Yang Dingtian was speechless. Faced with so many undead creatures, the Netherworld Ghost Emperor did not dare to come out. Yang Dingtian realized that Yao Li's advice was absolutely correct. Wanting to hunt undead creatures on the Great Taboo Day was purely courting death. The undead creatures were still recovering after their long slumber. Once they had completely recovered, it would be the time of death for Yang Dingtian and the others. At this moment, Yao Zi, who had never known fear, even when facing the danger of being raped, felt fear for the first time. Her small face was pale as she tightly hugged Yang Dingtian's arm, trembling. Yao Li's face was also pale. Even Bo Lu's legs were trembling slightly. There was no other way. Facing countless undead creatures, anyone would really wet their pants. This place was not like the Ghost Hell region. The undead there were very low level. The undead creatures here were really powerful beyond compare. What to do? What to do? What to do? Yang Dingtian's mind was spinning rapidly. He had to immediately think of a way before the undead creatures recovered. Escape? That was impossible, because the surroundings were already surrounded by undead creatures. Moreover, where could he run to? There were undead everywhere here. Invisibility was also useless. The undead could still see him. Every time Yang Dingtian turned invisible, it would cause the undead to attack even more crazily. Yang Dingtian was incomparably nervous. He was so nervous that he almost suffocated. He had to think of a way. He had to think of a way. Otherwise he would definitely die. Suddenly, Yang Dingtian's mind lit up. In the Ghost Hell region, after killing undead creatures, they would obtain hell magic crystals. Then, they would stuff the hell magic crystals into their bodies and temporarily transform into undead creatures. This way, they would not be attacked by undead creatures. However, that was in the Ghost Hell region. He did not know if he could do it here. However, whether or not he could do it, he had to do it. Because these undead creatures would soon wake up from their daze. Whoosh! Yang Dingtian summoned the million-spirit demon fire with the primal chaos attribute. Whoosh! He then summoned the demon spirit demon fire with the primal chaos attribute. He poured almost all of his profound chi into it. Whoosh! Then the two mystic flames flew into the sky like meteors. Finally they fiercely collided. Boom! In an instant, the dark domain within a few hundred miles was as bright as day. It was like a nuclear explosion. An unparalleled bolt of lightning fiercely struck down. Bang! The lightning that surpassed the half-saint level suddenly exploded. Yao Li, Yao Zi, and the others were completely stunned. This attack had already surpassed the half-saint level, much more than the 15th level. A 10th level warrior could actually release an attack of the 15th level. This was too heaven-defying. Swoosh! Then, the ground seemed to be directly swept across. Countless undead creatures within 1,000 meters were turned into ashes. All undead creatures below the 10th level were turned into ashes. That's right. Yang Dingtian's mystic flame lightning attack was above the 15th level. However, the attack range was too wide, so it could only kill undead creatures below the 10th level. The undead creatures above the 10th level were immediately stunned and trembled violently. Within 1,000 meters, there were dozens of undead creatures left standing and trembling. These were all above the 11th level. At the same time, there were thousands of hell magic crystals floating in the air. These were all left behind by the undead creatures that had turned into ashes. Whoosh 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 whoosh. Yang Dingtian used the blink technique to quickly collect the hell magic crystals. Then, he gave a 10th level hell magic crystal to each of them. Using the fastest speed, he said, "Inject your divine sense into this hell magic crystal, and then press it into your heart." After speaking, Yang Dingtian quickly inputted his divine sense, and then pressed the hell magic crystal into his heart. Then Yang Dingtian kept praying, hoping that it would work, hoping that it would work, hoping that he could successfully transform into an undead. At the same time, The undead creatures 1,000 meters away had completely awakened. They were showing a bloodthirsty light and madly rushing towards Yang Dingtian and the others. Whoosh! Yang Dingtian suddenly transformed from a human into a 10th level undead. Yao Li and the others had no time to be shocked. They hurriedly did as they were told and injected their divine sense into the hell magic crystal, and then pressed it into their hearts. Whoosh 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 whoosh. The 5 of them transformed at the same time, and all of them instantly became 10th level undead creatures. Meanwhile, countless dead spirits were charging over, and were about to tear Yang Dingtian and the others into pieces. Suddenly, they found that the target had disappeared. They blindly looked around for a while, and then continued to wander aimlessly. Yang Dingtian clutched his aching heart, and directly sat on the ground. Damn it! Half of his soul was scared out of his wits. It actually worked, it really worked. However, this was not strange, because today was the Great Taboo Day. The 2 moons shrouded the earth, and the dark realm was filled with infinite negative energy. Therefore, the energy environment of the dark realm and the nether plane had become very similar, except that it was many times stronger. Therefore, Yang Dingtian and the others' transformation could be successful. Mr. Yang Dingtian, you are amazing. I have decided, no matter where you go in the future, I will follow you, Yao Zi said excitedly. To be able to transform into an undead creature, such a terrifying undead creature was really too cool. Yang Dingtian could only pretend that he did not hear her. Yao Li, how long is the Great Taboo Day? Yang Dingtian asked. Only 24 hours, Yao Li said. Unfortunately, it is a little short. Yang Dingtian sighed and said. But it is enough. This is our feast, our hunting feast. It was definitely a feast. Yang Dingtian began to count the gains from the mystic fire lightning. There were thousands of hell magic crystals. Among them, there were more than 100 level 10 ones. As for the level 9 ones, there were more than 500. The rest were around level 7 and level 8. Of course, Yang Dingtian could not refine the hell magic crystals, only a shaman could. Yang Dingtian did not have a shaman by his side, but he had the Nether Ghost Emperor. Therefore, Yang Dingtian sat down and used his mind to communicate with the Nether Ghost Emperor. Your Excellency Ghost Emperor, due to your cowardly behavior, I have decided to reduce your share. You can only get 1/3 of the hell magic crystals, Yang Dingtian said. Impossible. The Nether Ghost Emperor said sternly. We agreed on half, so it is half. If you want to reduce my share, I will not accept it. I want to see how you can refine and purify the hell magic crystals without me. Yang Dingtian said. I suddenly remembered that Dishi Bian has a part of the Nether Ghost flame. Can she purify it? Ha 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 ha. The Nether Ghost Emperor laughed and said, let's not talk about whether she can do it or not. The key is that you can't bring these hell magic crystals out of the dark realm. When the Great Taboo Day ends, they will all turn to dust. You are dreaming if you want to bring them to the human world. Yang Dingtian said, but I have the interspatial ring. The Nether Ghost Emperor was stunned. How do you have this thing? It should not appear in this world. The Nether Ghost Emperor said, why do you care? But I do have it. Yang Dingtian said, I will now count down from 10. Your share is still 1/3. When I finish counting down, you will only have 1/4 left. Yang Dingtian, don't go too far. The Nether Ghost Emperor shouted. Yang Dingtian did not care, and started counting down. 10. 9. Impossible, I am the Nether Ghost Emperor. I will never compromise. 8. 7. Keep dreaming. Keep dreaming. At worst, we'll just go our separate ways. 6. 5. 4. 3. Yang Dingtian suddenly started counting down faster. The Nether Ghost Emperor was scared out of his wits. Okay, I agree. Yang Dingtian smiled and said, you should have agreed earlier. The Nether Ghost Emperor said angrily, Yang Dingtian, you brat, remember this. I will hold a grudge. Before he could finish, Yang Dingtian released countless hell magic crystals into the soul ring. The Nether Ghost Emperor's complaints came to an abrupt end. Then he let out a climax. I'm rich. Time is of the essence. Hurry up and work, Yang Dingtian said. Then, The Nether Ghost Emperor quickly refined the Hell Magic crystals. Whoosh 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 whoosh. Its refining speed was godly. In a short moment, it finished refining 1,000 Hell Magic crystals. 100 Hell Magic crystals were refined into 2 Hell Magic crystals of the 11th level. 500 Hell Magic crystals of the 9th level were refined into 5 Hell Magic crystals of the 11th level. The remaining few hundred Hell Magic crystals of the 8th level and below were refined into 5 Hell Magic crystals of the 10th level. Then, the Nether Ghost Emperor took 1 Hell Magic crystal of the 11th level and 2 Hell Magic crystals of the 11th level. Finally, he refined all of Yang Dingtian's Hell Magic crystals into energy essences and sent them out. Suddenly, a total of 9 energy essences appeared in Yang Dingtian's palm. This was too crazy. This was the result of a short hunt. Tonight was definitely a feast for Yang Dingtian. A feast of hunting, a feast of devouring. Chapter 822. Yang Dingtian looked at the 9 energy essences in his hand. Of the 2 level 11 level 9 energy essences, one was taken by the Nether Ghost Emperor, and the other was kept for himself. There were 3 level 11 beginner level 10 energy essences. Yang Dingtian gave 1 each to Yao Li and Bo Lu, and kept the last one for himself. Yao Zi, A1, and A Wu each had one of the 5 level 10 energy essences. In the end, apart from Yao Zi, all 4 of them rejected Yang Dingtian's energy essences. Yang Dingtian, all the gains from the Great Taboo Day are yours alone, Yao Zi said firmly. The 5 of us can't take even half of it, because we didn't put in any effort. Then, Yao Li glared at her younger sister Yao Zi. Yao Zi was about to put away the energy essences happily, but when she saw her sister's glare, she could not help but return them reluctantly. Yang Dingtian said, "We're a team, and your strength is also in my interest. So, I'll take half of the gains from the Great Taboo Night." Yang Dingtian was not a saint, nor was he a hypocrite. He had his own goal, and that was to bring all 5 of them back to the human nations to join the war against the evil ways. The possibility of this was quite high, because as long as Yao Li left, Bo Lu would definitely leave. Yao Zi would follow Yang Dingtian wholeheartedly, and A1 and A Wu would follow Yao Zi wholeheartedly. As for Yao Li, she was ostracized by her own family, and she would follow Yao Qi wholeheartedly. However, Yao Qi was already dead, so she probably had no place in the Little Western Paradise anymore, and had lost her goal. Then, fighting against the evil ways and saving the world should be a very good goal. Yang Dingtian might know quite a number of demon fox race experts, but these 5 individuals were the only group he could bring to the human kingdoms. Once the 5 of them successfully followed him to the human nations, it would be equivalent to the Council of Light, gaining a few more top-notch elites. Especially Yao Li and Bo Lu. If possible, Yang Dingtian hoped that they could break through to the semi-sage realm as soon as possible. After hearing Yang Dingtian's words, Yao Li still resolutely returned the energy essence to Yang Dingtian. Yang Dingtian's face turned serious as he shouted, "Tonight, I'm the main force. I have the final say." Then he closed his eyes and sat on the ground, beginning to devour the energy essence. First, fuse the 2 rank 10 energy essences into the elementary rank 11, and then fuse the 9th rank 11 energy essence. In this way, it became an energy essence that was very close to the 12th level. Then, it began to open the entrance of the Xian vein, and began to devour. Now Yang Dingtian's cultivation was at level 7 of the 10th level. He was still level 3 of the 4th level away from level 15 of the half-saint realm. At this moment, swallowing an 11th grade, 9th grade pill was no longer enough for him to break through. He hoped that this energy essence, which was close to the 12th rank, could help him break through. Devour, devour. Powerful energy essence continuously poured into Yang Dingtian's Qi. After a short quarter of an hour, Yang Dingtian's Qi began to expand. Boom! Yang Dingtian's entire divine sense and body sank into nothingness. Finally he broke through. Yang Dingtian broke through to level 8 of the 10th level. Then, he seized the time to take a mystic gathering pill to recover his battle mystic qi. After a short quarter of an hour, Yang Dingtian recovered his battle mystic chi. Okay, let's harvest the undead for the second time, Yang Dingtian said excitedly. Yang Dingtian's group of 6 disguised themselves as undead and wandered with the undead army. Although the whole process made people shudder with fear, it was also very terrifying. But he and they were safe. On the way, Yang Dingtian did not know how many half-saint undead he encountered. Usually, the undead would also attack their own kind. But now, it seemed that all the undead were busy gathering in one place, and then absorbing the energy essence of the 2 moons there. Therefore, the slaughter between the undead did not start. Therefore, these half-saint undead completely ignored Yang Dingtian's group. Soon, Yang Dingtian found the place with the most undead. Then, he hid among the undead in the distance, and was about to release the mystic fire lightning. Just as he was about to release the devil spirit demon fire, and million spirit demon fire as usual. Suddenly, a thought occurred to him. What would happen if he added the void-rending fire? Because the void-rending fire was a black and white fire, and it had yin and yang attributes. And when it was transparent, it had the chaos attribute. Once this thought arose, Yang Dingtian immediately made his move. Whoosh! His left hand held the million spirit demon fire with the chaos attribute. Whoosh! His right hand held the devil spirit demon fire with the chaos attribute. Whoosh! In front of his chest, the transparent void-rending fire with the chaos attribute. Then Yang Dingtian injected his mystic chi. Almost 99% of his mystic chi was injected, and the remaining mystic chi was saved for escape. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. 3 mystic fires with the chaos attribute suddenly shot into the sky a few miles away. Almost all the undead turned a blind eye to these 3 mystic fires. Yang Dingtian was extremely excited and expectant. Previously, it was the lightning produced by the collision of 2 mystic fires. This time there were 3 mystic fires. He wondered what the result would be. Suddenly, the 3 mystic fires fiercely collided in the air. Boom! There was a burst of light from the explosion of a nuclear bomb. Within 1,000 miles it was as bright as day. Yang Dingtian only felt his vision suddenly turn white, and then he could not see anything. Immediately after, an incomparably powerful energy suddenly swept over. Whoosh! Then, he suddenly realized that his body, as well as the bodies of Yao Li and the others beside him, were directly sent flying, as if they were directly sent flying by an incomparably powerful shock wave. Heavens! This energy was too terrifying, too shocking. Yao Li hurriedly hugged her sister because even though they were very far away, with Yao Zi's cultivation, she could not resist this terrifying shock wave at all. And Bo Lu also immediately protected A Wen and A Wu. After Yang Dingtian and the others were directly sent flying for a few thousand meters, they fell heavily to the ground. After a full half a minute, this terrifying light gradually faded. Then, Yang Dingtian realized that the densely packed undead were completely empty. Within a radius of 10 miles, there were countless hell magic crystals floating in the air. Of course, in that area, there were dozens of undead who were crazily trembling on the spot. However, all of them were level 12 and above. Those below level 11 were all turned into ashes, and were all killed instantly. Yang Dingtian and Yao Li were completely stunned. A level 16 attack. It's actually a level 16 attack. Yao Li looked at Yang Dingtian in disbelief. A level 10 martial arts expert could actually release a level 16 attack. This was really too frightening. Yang Dingtian was also completely shocked by this result. The lightning created by the 3 mystic fires was no longer just lightning, but a very special energy state. At least, the lightning just now was no longer pure lightning. It was not blue, but a kind of colorless. Moreover, it was like a nuclear bomb that exploded violently. It was no longer a ball of lightning like before. A huge wall of lightning came down densely. Then, what if it was lightning created by 4 mystic fires? If one day, he could control the black-green mystic fires, then how shocking would the mystic fire lightning created by 4 mystic fires be? He did not dare to imagine. At least, the lightning created by 3 mystic fires would not only be 2 or 3 times more powerful than 2 mystic fires, it would be many times more powerful. However, there was no time to think. Yang Dingtian used the last bit of mystic qi and quickly flashed over. With the fastest speed, he collected all the hell magic crystals within a radius of 10 miles. Then, he brought Yao Li and the other 4 and quickly escaped. This was because Yang Dingtian's mystic fire lightning had completely stimulated these undead. They had already started to kill each other. Yang Dingtian and the other 4 were still too small compared to these undead. If they continued to stay here, they could be killed at any time. Using the remaining mystic qi, Yang Dingtian escaped a few hundred miles before stopping. The undead here were relatively sparse and in a relatively quiet state. Then, Yang Dingtian started to calculate his harvest and was completely stunned. There were more than 3,000 hell magic crystals. The Nether Ghost Emperor was so excited that he was trembling. And it wasn't just over 3,000 hell mana crystals. There were also 111th rank hell mana crystals, more than 500 level 10 hell magic crystals, more than 1,000 level 9 hell magic crystals, and the rest were all below level 8 hell magic crystals. This harvest was not only 3 times the harvest of the first attack. It could even be said to be 10 times the harvest. It was really too shocking. When Yang Dingtian poured these hell demon crystals into the soul ring, the Netherworld Ghost Emperor let out a sobbing sound while refining them. He had been starving for too long. Now with such a crazy harvest, he was really going crazy. He even thought that if he could continue to follow Yang Dingtian like this, it might not be a bad idea. But soon, he began to despise his own thoughts. Bah. He was the master of this realm. How could he follow a human? He was too useless. However, thinking of a way to use Yang Dingtian to take back his underworld empire was not a bad idea. The Nether Ghost Emperor quickly devoured his own portion, while refining the other 2/3 of the hell magic crystals. As for Yang Dingtian, he sat down cross-legged and consumed a mystic gathering pill to recover his mystic qi. The Nether Ghost Emperor originally wanted to take a portion for himself, but seeing such a crazy harvest, he was afraid that Yang Dingtian would be dissatisfied. So he temporarily put aside his dirty thoughts and strictly kept 1/3. By the time Yang Dingtian had completely recovered his mystic qi, the Nether Ghost Emperor had finished refining the hell magic crystals. The result of the battle was out. All the hell magic crystals were in Yang Dingtian's hands. Even though he was already mentally prepared, Yang Dingtian was still on the verge of crying. The Nether Ghost Emperor was very considerate. He condensed all the energy essences into 3 types. They were infinitely close to level 12, mid-level level 11, and high-level level 10. Because this was more reasonable for Yang Dingtian's team, there were a total of 6 energy essences infinitely close to level 12. That's right, 6 of them. They were condensed from 30 level 11, level 9 energy essences. There were only 2 mid-level level 11 energy essences. They were condensed from 10 beginner level 11 energy essences. There were a total of 4 high-level level 10 energy essences. That's right. The harvest was 10 times more than the first wave. In other words, Yang Dingtian's 3 mystic flame lightnings had exceeded the total harvest of the previous 2 months. It had exceeded the harvest of an ordinary high demon fox noble for 10 years. The Great Taboo Day was a terrifying day for others. But for Yang Dingtian, it was an absolute feast. At this moment, Yang Dingtian truly felt how powerful the pig-slaying swordsmanship was. Without the pig-slaying swordsmanship, even if he used the Devil Sky-splitting lightning for 3 days and 3 nights, it would still not be comparable to the mystic flame lightnings. Then Yang Dingtian started to distribute the crystals. 6 level 12 energy demonic crystals were divided into 3 portions, 2 for each portion. 1 for Yaoli, 1 for Bolu. 2 mid-level level 11 energy essences were all given to Yaozi. The remaining 4 high-level energy essences were all given to A1 and Awu. He only took 2 level 12 energy essences. Because, after Yang Dingtian thought about it, he realized that Bolu and Yaoli were the best candidates to guard the gate of humans in the Skull Palace. Even if it was for this goal, he had to let the 2 of them break through to half-sage. Only a half-saint could guard the door to the human kingdom. However, Yaoli was truly unable to tolerate Yang Dingtian's prodigal distribution method. She snatched Yang Dingtian's energy essences, giving him an energy essence that was close to rank 12. The other one was given to Bo Lu. Then 2 of the high-level level 10 energy essences were given to Yao Zi. The remaining 2 were given to Ah Wen and Ah Wu. The rest were all given to Yang Dingtian. In this way, Yang Dingtian took 4 level 12 energy essences and 2 mid-level level 11 energy essences. His share was far more than half. Then, Yao Li said, "Originally, I shouldn't have taken this level 12 energy essence. But since you want to give it to me, I'll keep it. If you need anything in the future, just say the word, and I'll definitely do it." Yang Dingtian nodded. Then he began to devour the 4 level 12 energy essences. As for the remaining mid-level level 11 energy essences, Yang Dingtian saved them. He would give them to Dishi Bian, and the others when he returned to humans. Yang Dingtian opened all the mystic veins in his body and madly devoured the level 12 energy essences. The seemingly endless amount of energy was really like a raging sea, crazily surging into his energy sea. In just a few minutes, his energy reserve was filled to the brim. Then, it began to swell and swell. Boom! Yang Dingtian directly broke through to the 9th rank of level 10. At this time, nearly 1.5 of the 4 level 12 energy essences had been consumed. Then the powerful energy essences continued to surge in. Whoosh 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 whoosh. Endless energy madly poured into his energy reserve. 15 minutes later, Yang Dingtian's energy reserve was filled to the brim again. He felt it swell. Yang Dingtian was about to break through. He was about to break through to level 11. But the energy essences in his palm were about to be used up. Just a little bit more, and he would break through to level 11. At this time, Yao Li, who had been paying attention to Yang Dingtian, immediately shot her level 12 energy essence into Yang Dingtian's palm. Boom! Yang Dingtian's energy reserve suddenly exploded. His entire body and consciousness sank into nothingness. Chapter 823. Finally, with the help of Princess Yao Li's energy essence that was close to level 12, Yang Dingtian directly broke through level 11. Then, the powerful energy continued to surge in. Just as Yang Dingtian thought that he was about to break through to level 11 first rank, the last energy essence that was close to level 12 was exhausted. There was still some distance to level 11 first rank. After Yang Dingtian finished breaking through, Yao Zi, Ah Wen, and Ah Wu had also finished breaking through. Yao Zi directly broke through to level 10 first rank, and Ah Wen and Ah Wu had both broken through to level 10. In this way, Yao Zi's cultivation became even more powerful than the 2 swordsmen who were much older. And Yang Dingtian, who had broken through to level 11, also clearly felt that his cultivation was much stronger than before. It was 2 times that of level 10 8th rank. Of course, he could not calculate how many times his cultivation was stronger than when he was a 9-star, 9th rank Grandmaster, but it should be more than 10 times. In any case, every increase in level did not increase his cultivation by much, but with every increase in level, the increase in his combat strength was very shocking. Originally, Yang Dingtian's combat celestial qi was already full. Now because of the increase in his cultivation, he had to take another mystic gathering pill to recover. Half an hour later, Yang Dingtian's combat celestial qi was completely recovered. After everyone recovered their combat celestial qi, it was time to start a new round of adventure. The 6 of them transformed into ghouls and began to wander in the dark realm, looking for the place with the most ghouls. At this time, the ghouls in the area that Yang Dingtian was in were very sparse. The few of them continued to advance. However, Yang Dingtian's good luck seemed to have run out. Because the situation had changed. These ghouls were no longer wandering aimlessly. Instead, they had begun to kill each other. The high-level ghouls were desperately hunting the low-level ghouls. Even if the 6 of them transformed into ghouls, they were no longer safe. As they spoke, a level 12 ghoul suddenly discovered Yang Dingtian's group. Its eyes immediately shone with excitement. Oh! Afterwards, it suddenly charged over. Because the undead that Yang Dingtian's group had transformed into were all below the 12th rank, This 12th rank undead clearly regarded Yang Dingtian's group as prey. I can't let it get close. Therefore, Yang Dingtian quickly released a Devil Sky-splitting lightning. Pa! The 11th rank Devil Sky-splitting lightning ruthlessly struck the 12th rank undead. However, there was no way to obliterate it, nor was there any way to seriously injure it. After all, there was a difference of 1 level between them. However, it wasn't completely useless. After the 12th rank undead was struck by the Devil Heaven's split, it immediately stopped and trembled on the spot. It wasn't painful. Instead, it was enjoyable. Yang Dingtian took advantage of this moment, and immediately carried Yao Li, Yao Zi, and the sisters with 1 hand each. He then used a rope to tie up Bo Lu, A Wen, and A Wu before using the blink art to escape. In just a moment, they had escaped to a place where the undead were sparse. In this area, Yang Dingtian and the others became the highest level undead. Immediately, the low-level undead fled one after another. After escaping to a safe place, Yao Li said directly, "If you leave us here and go hunting alone, we will all become a burden. No, it's still too dangerous for you to be on the ground." Yang Dingtian said, "First dig a cave. A few dozen meters will be enough. At this time, the undead are most unwilling to go underground, so you will be safe. After the great taboo day is over, and I'm done hunting, I will come back to find you." Yao Li and the others nodded. Then, Yang Dingtian's group of 6 quickly dug a cave. In just half an hour, they had dug a cave that was 20 to 30 meters deep. Yao Li and the others all entered the cave. Then, they used special energy stones to seal the cave entrance. In this way, Yao Li and the others would be safe. At this time, the undead could finally come to the ground with great difficulty. They were absolutely unwilling to go underground, so they wouldn't be in danger. After settling Yao Li and the others, Yang Dingtian embarked on a solo hunting journey. At this time, Yang Dingtian could no longer hunt the undead as comfortably as before, because these undead had already attacked and hunted each other. Why not to be hunted? That was very simple. Become the highest level of the undead. This was because Yang Dingtian found that in the Feast of the Undead on the Great Taboo Day, it was all high undead hunting the low undead. And when the level of the undead exceeded 1 rank, then even if the low undead were attacked, they would not dare to fight back at all. They could only watch themselves turn into ashes and smoke. Therefore, if Yang Dingtian wanted to hunt the undead comfortably, there was only one way, and that was to transform into a high undead, at least a 15th rank one, preferably a 16th rank one. In that case, he could move freely among most of the undead and kill whoever he wanted. Therefore, Yang Dingtian carefully wandered in the Dark Realm, looking for a 15th rank high undead. Of course, in fact, being alone was nonsense, because now, all the high undead were alone. It was as if every high undead was careful to avoid their own kind, that was as powerful as themselves. Every high undead occupied an area. Then all the undead in this area were his prey and tributes. Yang Dingtian kept searching. He needed to find a high undead of about the 15th rank. Along the way, he didn't know how many 12th rank and 13th rank undead he encountered. As soon as these undead saw Yang Dingtian, they immediately rushed up to attack him frantically. Yang Dingtian used blink to escape quickly. Fortunately, these undead seemed to be relatively lazy. Once Yang Dingtian escaped quickly, they were reluctant to come after him. At this time, Yang Dingtian found that within his domain, there was about a radius of 1,000 miles. In this domain, the closer to the center, the higher the level of the undead. As Yang Dingtian went deeper into this area, gradually, there were more and more 13th rank and 14th rank undead. Yang Dingtian's situation was getting more and more dangerous. It must be known that being hit by a 13th rank or 14th rank undead was basically a dead end. Yang Dingtian continued to go towards the center of this domain, looking for the undead overlord of this area. At this time, he was completely playing with his life. Fortunately, there was the magic spirit mist cloak. Otherwise, Yang Dingtian would have really died many times over. Fortunately, in the center of the domain, in addition to the high undead, there were also 11th and 10th rank undead like Yang Dingtian. Therefore, it was not so prominent. However, the tragedy was that the closer to the center of the domain, the more these 11th and 10th rank undead were like lambs to be slaughtered, naked prey. Yang Dingtian continued to go deeper and deeper. Suddenly, he found that there were fewer and fewer undead around him. Yang Dingtian suddenly felt a little creepy. He knew in his heart that he was close to the center of this domain, and would soon see the undead overlord of this area. At this time, Yang Dingtian really felt that his heart was about to stop. The number of undead around him was really getting fewer and fewer. After going another 100 miles, there was not a single undead. This should be the forbidden death zone of this area, because the undead overlord of this area was here. Therefore, all the other undead instinctively avoided this area, lest they be hunted down by this undead overlord. Therefore, this made the area within 100 miles become a no-man's land. Oh, it was a ghost-free area. Yang Dingtian held his breath and carefully went deeper. He felt that he was really walking on a wire rope, as if he was walking into hell. 30 miles into the ghost-free area. 50 miles. 80 miles. Suddenly, the cold aura became stronger and stronger. The aura of death around him became more and more oppressive. Even with medicinal pills, he felt that he couldn't breathe. That special aura of death seemed to be attacking Yang Dingtian all the time. It was as if he went deeper, even if no one attacked him, he would be penetrated by this aura of death and die. Yang Dingtian gritted his teeth and used all his willpower to force himself to go deeper, instead of turning around and running away. At this time, he was already 99 miles deep into the ghost-free area. Then, Yang Dingtian saw the undead overlord of this area. But, it didn't seem to be a 15th level, not even a 16th level. Yao Li had taught Yang Dingtian about elemental creatures and undead levels. The energy light emitted by 15th level elemental creatures was golden. Their energy essence was also golden. And the light emitted by 20th level elemental creatures was colorless. And this undead overlord in front of him, although the energy light on its body was golden, it was very thin and gradually became colorless. Yang Dingtian asked, "Ghost Emperor, what level is this undead overlord in front of us?" The Nether Ghost Emperor didn't make any sound in the soul ring. It was pretending to be dead again. It could be seen that this undead overlord in front of him had already made the 11th level Nether Ghost Emperor not dare to make any sound. Yang Dingtian was instantly impressed. You are the Netherworld Ghost Emperor, yet you are able to adapt to circumstances. When it was awesome, it could command hundreds of saint-level and half-saint-level undead and Shura. Now, when it was weak, it didn't dare to make a sound in front of a 16th or 17th level undead. In the end, Yang Dingtian roughly determined that this undead overlord's level was about 17th level. Yang Dingtian's intestines were about to explode from regret. What he wanted to hunt was merely a 15th rank undead creature, obtain its hell magic crystal, and transform into a half-step saint undead creature. This way, he could freely hunt all undead below 13th level. Because to him, energy essences above 13th level were a huge waste. The most useful one was 12th level energy essence. But in the end, he encountered a 17th level undead. Such an awesome undead. Even his 3 mysterious fire couldn't kill it. However, if he could obtain the hell magic crystal of this 17th level undead, it would be really awesome. In the entire Dark Realm, he could almost do whatever he wanted. Of course, it was absolutely impossible to kill a 17th level undead. Even the possibility of surviving was already impossible. After hesitating for less than half a second, Yang Dingtian decided to immediately turn around and escape. It was impossible for him to kill a 17th level undead. If he really did, he would definitely die. However, at this moment, Yang Dingtian found that his body was completely immobile. Since you're already here, why are you in such a hurry to leave? The 17th level undead opened its mouth to speak. That voice was really as ear-piercing and terrifying as a sharp blade scraping against glass. Yang Dingtian was surprised. The undead could actually speak? One had to know that the undead were just the ghosts of people who had already died. They might be violent and bloodthirsty, but they basically had no intelligence or consciousness. And this undead could actually speak? Are you an undead? Are you a human? The undead overlord suddenly said, "Are you here to hunt me down?" Yang Dingtian remained silent. "Since you came to hunt me down, why didn't you make a move and just left?" The 17th level undead overlord asked. "Fuck, I want to kill you. If you were at the 16th level, I would also go all out. But you're at the 17th level. What am I going to do? I'm just courting death. Human, I'm really curious. You're at most an 11th level powerhouse. Why did you come to hunt me down?" The 17th level undead overlord asked. Yang Dingtian replied, "I didn't expect you to be at the 17th level. Who told you that I was at the 17th level?" The undead overlord asked. "What level did you think the undead overlords of this domain were?" "I thought you were at the 15th level?" Yang Dingtian asked. "Oh, you thought you were at the 15th level? That means if you were at the 15th level, you could kill me?" The undead overlord asked. "That's right," Yang Dingtian said. "Ha ha 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 ha." The undead overlord laughed. Suddenly, Yang Dingtian felt that his head was about to explode. This voice was really too terrifying and ear-piercing. After the undead overlord stopped laughing, he said sarcastically, "An 11th level human actually said that he could kill a 15th level undead? How ridiculous. Good. I'm really going to open my eyes. I originally wanted to annihilate you directly, but since you said that you can kill a 5th tier undead, I'll give you a chance to show it. Come, show me your heaven-defying moves and let me broaden my horizons. Let me see how you can eliminate an opponent who's 4 tiers higher than you." Yang Dingtian said, "If I show you that I can kill a 15th level or even 16th level undead, will you let me go?" "Ha ha ha ha." The undead overlord said, "I don't know. I only know that if you don't make a move and open my eyes, I'll turn you into ashes right now." This meant that he had to make a move no matter what. Even if he made a move, he might still die in a while. But if he didn't make a move, he would die immediately. Yang Dingtian began to gather his profound qi, preparing to release the 3 profound flame lightning and launch an attack. Before making a move, Yang Dingtian couldn't help but ask, Then may I ask what level of undead you are?" "The 18th level," the undead overlord said. "Fuck the 18th level?" Yang Dingtian swayed and almost fainted. Chapter 824. Originally, the 17th level was already enough to make Yang Dingtian despair. But now this undead overlord in front of him was actually at the 18th level. Now Yang Dingtian's little life was already 90% gone. He really didn't expect that the undead overlord in this area was actually at the 18th level. If he had known, he wouldn't have come even if he died. A man whose heart was never content was like a snake trying to swallow an elephant. But now that things had come to this, he could only gamble with his life. At this moment, Yang Dingtian's whole body was completely locked down. The demon spirit mist cloak's flash technique was useless. Therefore, Yang Dingtian could only hope that the 3 mysterious flame lightning would cause this undead overlord in front of him to shake so much that it would lose its energy lock on him. Then, Yang Dingtian would use the flash technique to escape. Thinking of this, Yang Dingtian said, "Your Excellency, I've already used up a lot of my Xian Qi. Can you allow me to fully recover my Xian Qi?" "Of course," the undead overlord said. Then Yang Dingtian took a mysterious gathering pill. In just half an hour, his Xian Qi was fully recovered. Standing up, Yang Dingtian took a deep breath. Although this place was a vacuum, there was no air, only the aura of death. Whoosh! He summoned the million-spirit demon fire with the chaotic attribute. Whoosh! Then, he summoned the demon spirit demon fire with the chaotic attribute. Whoosh! Finally, he summoned the transparent void-splitting flame. Then, he poured 90% of his Xian Qi energy into the 3 mysterious flames. The remaining 10% was prepared to escape. Seeing Yang Dingtian's 3 mysterious flames, this undead overlord was still lazy. But it didn't take them seriously. Yes, 3 heaven and earth mysterious flames were already extremely heaven-defying among humans, but they were nothing among undead overlords. The 3 mysterious flames were all filled with Xian Qi energy. Whoosh! The 3 mysterious flames suddenly flew into the sky. Like meteors, they flew above the undead overlord's head. Then they violently crashed. Boom! It wasn't just lightning. It was like the explosion of a large nuclear bomb. The darkness within 1,000 miles was violently torn apart. The entire night sky suddenly became as bright as day. This was a light that could completely blind people. The twin moons in the sky were completely covered by the glaring light. This incomparable mystic fire lightning condensed and struck the body of the rank 18 undead overlord. That's right, it was no longer a one-shot that could kill everything within several thousand meters. Instead, it was focused on a single point, the undead overlord. After the energy burst, Yang Dingtian didn't even look at the result. He quickly used the demonic spirit mist cloak's flash and turned around to flee. Sure enough, the seal was lifted and Yang Dingtian's blink was restored. Yang Dingtian ran for his life. In fact, although Yang Dingtian had only used 90% of his profound Chi's triple profound flame lightning, it was already much more powerful than the previous time. It was truly formidable. The rank 18 undead spirit overlord had actually lost control of Yang Dingtian after being bombarded. Of course, what was the result? Yang Dingtian was definitely not going to watch. He immediately turned around and ran for his life. Yang Dingtian ran. However, he only managed to run for less than 10,000 meters before he was instantly locked in place, unable to move at all. Once again he was locked in place. Yang Dingtian's heart suddenly turned cold, and his limbs turned cold. Could it be that he was really going to die this time? After a full half a minute, this terrifying light gradually faded away, and Yang Dingtian regained his vision. He once again saw the rank 18 undead overlord, only to see it tremble slightly and shudder. It was completely safe and sound, without the slightest damage. Then he clicked his tongue in amazement. Amazing, truly amazing. You're right. You're even more powerful than what you said. Not only can you kill a rank 15 undead overlord, that attack just now can also turn a rank 16 undead overlord into ashes. Then, this undead overlord sighed and said, to think that such a terrifying person could appear in the human race. A mere rank 11 profound flame lightning that surpasses rank 16 profound flame lightning. How heaven-defying is that? I've never seen or heard of such a thing before. Human, how old are you? More than 26 years old, Yang Dingtian said. Before the Great Nirvana era, the martial arts civilization should have been much more developed than yours, but there has never been such a powerful and terrifying person like you. The undead overlord sighed and said, I really can't imagine 10 years later, 20 years later, what level will you be at? What exactly do you do? Are you the illegitimate child of the heavens? Yang Dingtian remained silent. The undead overlord said, okay, finish sighing, you can die now. Yang Dingtian was stunned. When he heard the undead overlord's praise just now, he thought that he would let him live. The undead overlord said, if I was still a human, I would definitely spare your life. But now that I'm an undead, my heart is only filled with endless darkness. The more outstanding a human is, the more I want to kill them. Whoosh. Then, the undead overlord's skeletal hand slowly reached out, and suddenly, a green ghost fire slowly rose. Yang Dingtian hurriedly asked, Senior, do you know Shiwu Piaoyan? The undead overlord was stunned, then nodded and said, Shiwu Piaoyan, of course I know him. The strongest person in the universe, the savior of the world, who doesn't know him? Yang Dingtian was pleasantly surprised and said, I'm his successor, so Senior might be an old friend to me. He used the same trick again. As long as he could save his life, he didn't care about these moral principles. The undead overlord sneered, gnashing his teeth and said, Is that so? No wonder you're so powerful that it's terrifying. But since you're his successor, I'll tear you to pieces even more, turn you into ashes, and then completely devour your soul. Yang Dingtian was shocked and said, why is that? He didn't expect that after he called out Shiwu Piaoyan's name, the undead overlord not only didn't spare his life, but also became even more vicious. Could it be that he was Shiwu Piaoyan's enemy? The undead overlord sneered and said, You must be thinking that I'm Shiwu Piaoyan's enemy, right? You're really thinking too much. I'm not qualified to be his enemy. However, he did trample on me once, even though it was very unintentional. So he doesn't know who I am. but I hate him to the bone. Young Dingtian was startled. Wasn't this too short? The person he met turned out to be an unintentional enemy of Shiwu Piaoyan. The undead overlord laughed coldly and said, "Since you're Shiwu Piaoyan's successor, then I can't directly blast you to death with ghost fire. Instead, I'll devour you alive." Ha 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 ha. Then, the undead overlord looked up to the sky and roared. In an instant, the two moons in the sky were completely enveloped by the dark energy of death. Young Dingtian raised his head, and even the moonlight in the sky couldn't be seen. The space around his body was completely enveloped by the energy of death. Boom! Then, the undead overlord suddenly changed, and his entire body completely turned into a raging ghost fire. It was a golden color that resembled a colorless willow. The wisp, but at the same time, it carried a faint glow. Die, turn into ashes, devour. Then, the rank 18 undead overlord transformed into flames and charged towards Yang Dingtian. As for Yang Dingtian, he could not move at all. It was as if his entire body had been frozen. He could only watch helplessly as an 18th grade willow. The wisp devoured him. Boom! The 18th grade ghost fire seemed capable of destroying the heavens and extinguishing the earth as it engulfed Yang Dingtian completely. The entire flame surged into Yang Dingtian's body. In an instant, Yang Dingtian's vision turned white, and his entire body sank into nothingness. After that, he didn't know anything. This energy was simply too powerful. Even if they were to die, they wouldn't feel anything. However, the feeling of being annihilated was too clear. It was unknown how much time had passed, or perhaps not much time had passed at all. Yang Dingtian opened his eyes and slowly woke up. Am I dead? Or was it something else? Yang Dingtian couldn't help but stretch out his hands. That's right, his hands were still his, and his body was still his. Not only was he not dead, but he was also safe and sound. It was just that there was no profound chi energy in his body. It was empty, and that rank 18 undead overlord had completely disappeared without a trace. How strange. Why wasn't he dead? Then Yang Dingtian quickly understood why. It was still the black-green dragon in the depths of his chi sea. Because Yang Dingtian was about to die, it had no choice but to make a move again. Because if Yang Dingtian died, it would lose its host. Yang Dingtian couldn't help but wake up Queen Poisa in his mind and said, "Sha, what happened just now, do you know?" Queen Poisa shook her head and said, "I don't know. This undead overlord was too powerful." Then, Yang Dingtian tried to feel the black-green dragon in the depths of his chi sea. It was very strange that he couldn't feel its existence at all. Previously, although it was deeply dormant, Yang Dingtian could still feel it. But this time, Yang Dingtian actually couldn't feel it at all. Could it be that the black-green dragon and the rank 18 undead overlord had perished together? Please don't. The weight of 10,000 undead overlords added together was not as good as a black-green dragon. So Yang Dingtian hurriedly let Queen Poisa's consciousness drill into his chi sea to check if the black-green flame was still there. Fortunately, it was still there. But this time, it wasn't just dormant. It seemed to be dormant and resting. It was as if the destruction of this rank 18 undead overlord had reached the limit of this black-green dragon. Therefore, it had to sink into the depths of his chi sea to recover. Of course, it might be digested, but the black-green flame didn't care about the undead energy. That meant that the next time there was such a fatal danger, the black-green flame wouldn't come to his rescue. At least, it would have to wait until it woke up again to make a move. In other words, Yang Dingtian couldn't court death without fear in the future. If he dared to court death again, he would really die. Yang Dingtian took a deep breath, and then raised his head. A golden hell magic crystal, which was gradually becoming transparent and colorless, floated in the air. Suddenly, Yang Dingtian was ecstatic, almost suffocating. This was a rank 18 hell magic crystal. The black-green dragon really didn't want the undead energy. So after killing the undead overlord, it directly gave the hell magic crystal to Yang Dingtian. Could this be considered as regaining what was lost? Or even worse, Yang Dingtian was obviously going to die. But in the end, not only did he not die, but he really got a rank 18 hell magic crystal. Yang Dingtian took a deep breath, and held the rank 18 Hell Magic Crystal in his hand. Wow! The energy inside was filled with the aura of death. It was really incomparably powerful. Smelling this aura, the Netherworld Ghost Emperor, who was pretending to be dead, suddenly came to life and clicked his tongue. Heavens, a rank 18 Hell Magic Crystal, Yang Dingtian said. Ghost Emperor, in view of your cowardice, you can only get a quarter of the Hell Magic Crystal. You can object, but I'll start counting down from 10. After the countdown ends, you can only get a fifth. Okay. The Netherworld Ghost Emperor said. Hurry up. Use this rank 18 Hell Magic Crystal to transform, and then go hunt the high undead. You can do whatever you want within a few thousand miles. Kill whoever you want. All the undead below rank 17 can only stand there and be beaten by you. Not only do they not dare to fight back, they don't even dare to escape. Yang Dingtian said, This is a rank 18 Hell Magic Crystal. Can I use it? Please, it's not like you're devouring it. If you dare to devour it, I guarantee that 100 lives will be gone. You're just using it to hide your transformation. The Netherworld Ghost Emperor said, Hurry up, time is precious. Every moment is more precious than gold. The Netherworld Ghost Emperor was right. Every minute was incomparably precious, because the Great Taboo Day was only one day. He had to seize every minute to hunt. Yang Dingtian took a deep breath and injected his divine sense into the rank 18 Hell Magic Crystal. Then he pressed it against his heart. Whoosh! In an instant, Yang Dingtian transformed completely and turned into an extremely powerful Class 18 Undead Overlord. His whole body emitted a golden light. His two eyes were like dancing flames. Wherever he went, there was an unparalleled aura of death. From now on, he was the only undead overlord within 1,000 miles. The countless undead within 1,000 miles were all his prey. Yang Dingtian quickly sat down cross-legged and took a mystic gathering pill to recover his battle chi. More than half an hour later, his battle Xian Qi was already recovering slowly. Then he quickly ran out of the domain. In an instant, an unparalleled death energy field followed. Within this energy field, all undead below rank 17 were unable to move and did not dare to resist. Soon, Yang Dingtian rushed out of the 100 miles free zone. More than 10,000 meters ahead, there were dozens of undead. There were 2 rank 16 undead and 3 rank 15 undead. Because this place was very close to the core of the domain, the undead here were all very high level. At this time, the rank 16 undead were hunting the rank 15 undead. While Yang Dingtian was rushing over, Yang Dingtian suddenly rushed over. In an instant, all the undead at the 16th and 15th levels stopped moving and stood there motionless. They were all stunned by the energy field of the rank 18 undead overlord. Yang Dingtian was ecstatic. Tonight, the real hunting feast had begun. Chapter 826. Yang Dingtian quickly locked onto a 16th level undead. Then, he summoned the Million Spirit Demonic Fire, Demon Spirit Demonic Fire, and Void Splitting Fire. After infusing enough chi, the 3 mystic fires suddenly rushed into the sky. Then, they violently collided in the air. Boom! Suddenly, the incomparably powerful 3 mystic fire lightning directly bombarded the 16th level undead. Suddenly, a terrible light tore through the night sky again, like a nuclear explosion. During the whole process, the 16th level undead stood still. In an instant, it was directly turned into ashes. From the beginning to the end, it did not resist at all. It did not even try to escape. Yang Dingtian's 3 mystic fire lightning was indeed powerful. It could actually directly destroy a 16th level undead. There was a 16th level hell magic crystal floating in the air. Yang Dingtian immediately went over, collected it, and threw it into the soul ring. After destroying the 16th level undead, Yang Dingtian began to sit down and recover his chi for battle. After only a quarter of an hour, his chi for battle was completely recovered. Then, he used the 3 mystic fire lightning to destroy another 16th level undead. Then, there was another 16th level hell magic crystal in Yang Dingtian's soul ring. He sat down again, swallowed a mystic gathering pill, and recovered his chi for battle. At this time, There were only 5 15th level undead left. After recovering all his chi for battle, Yang Dingtian locked onto 3 15th level undead, and then bombarded them with the 3 mystic fire lightning. Boom! Once again, there was a light like a nuclear explosion. The terrible 3 mystic fire lightning directly bombarded the 3 15th level undead. Then, the night sky hundreds of miles away was as bright as day again. After nearly a minute, the light dissipated. Yang Dingtian found that the 3 15th level undead were actually not turned into ashes. They were just crazily trembling on the spot. Just a little bit more. It seemed that Yang Dingtian's 3 mystic fire lightning was not enough to destroy 3 15th level undead at the same time. So after Yang Dingtian recovered his chi for battle, he bombarded them again. The 3 15th level undead were officially turned into ashes. Yang Dingtian had obtained 3 more 15th tier hell magic crystals. Next, after Yang Dingtian recovered his battle chi, he used the 3 profound fire lightning to eliminate the remaining 2 5th level undead creatures. It would be difficult to kill 3 at the same time, but 2 wasn't a problem. The first wave of crazy hunting had ended. Yang Dingtian obtained a total of 2 16th tier and 5 15th tier hell mana crystals. Yang Dingtian once again moved towards the periphery. It didn't take long for them to encounter a huge wave of specters. There were hundreds of specters at the 12th, 13th, 14th, and even 15th level. At this moment, these undead were crazily killing and devouring each other. Yang Dingtian rushed into the center of this pile of undead spirits. In an instant, the hundreds of undead froze in place, unable to move at all. The death aura of a level 18 undead instantly suppressed them. Then, the undead waited for Yang Dingtian's verdict. He had struck it rich. Although this wave wasn't as high level as the first wave, the 12th level hell magic crystals were what Yang Dingtian needed. Yang Dingtian directly released the 3 profound fire lightning to the extreme, and then violently blasted it down. This time, it wasn't targeted at one or a few undead creatures, but all hundreds of them. Boom! Once again, the terrifying light tore through the sky. Then hundreds of low-level undead creatures were all turned into ashes. Yang Dingtian sat down cross-legged, recovered his battle chi, and then quickly released the second profound fire lightning. Suddenly, dozens of undead creatures were turned into ashes. Next, Yang Dingtian released the 3 profound fire lightning 15 times, spending 2.5 hours. Finally, this wave of undead creatures was completely wiped out. Hundreds of different kinds of hell magic crystals floated in the air. Yang Dingtian quickly collected these hell magic crystals, and then sent them all into the soul ring. After recovering his battle chi, he once again rushed outside to kill the third wave of undead creatures. 200 miles later, Yang Dingtian encountered the third large-scale gathering of undead creatures. This time, it was even crazier, with a total of 1 to 2,000 undead creatures. However, their levels would be much lower. The highest were only 12th level undead creatures, with some 11th level undead creatures, and most of them were 9th level and 10th level undead creatures. At this time, these undead creatures were completely in a mess, and after Yang Dingtian rushed in, the death aura of the 18th level undead overlord suppressed them again. All the undead within a radius of a few miles instantly stopped moving and stood still. Yang Dingtian didn't say anything, and directly blasted the 3 profound fire lightning. Boom! The terrifying light of a nuclear bomb exploded once again, and hundreds of undead creatures were all turned into ashes. Suddenly, colorful hell magic crystals floated in the air. Yang Dingtian recovered his battle chi at the fastest speed, and then blasted again. 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, after a total of 18 times, nearly 3 hours later. Yang Dingtian finally wiped out this wave of close to 2,000 undead creatures. Then, he quickly went to collect these 2,000 hell magic crystals. This time, it could be considered the biggest harvest in history. After collecting these hell magic crystals, Yang Dingtian said, "Nether Ghost Emperor, you should give me the energy essences of the first 2 waves." After the Nether Ghost Emperor swallowed countless hell magic crystals, his cultivation had skyrocketed, and he suddenly felt like his soul had left his body. After hearing Yang Dingtian's words, he directly said, "Do you think I will be greedy for your hell magic crystals?" Then, a handful of energy essences quickly appeared in Yang Dingtian's palm. Yang Dingtian quickly put them all into the energy jade box. "Oh right, I can't purify the 14th level, 15th level, and 16th level hell magic crystals at the moment. I need to at least break through to 14th level," the Nether Ghost Emperor said. Yang Dingtian asked, "How far have you broken through?" "5th level, 12th level," the Nether Ghost Emperor said. "Because I didn't devour the hell magic crystals above 14th level. That would be too wasteful. So, I need your hell magic crystals below 13th level. Quickly send them in. After I break through, I can purify the high-level hell magic crystals for you." Yang Dingtian immediately stuffed close to 2,000 hell magic crystals into the soul ring. Suddenly, the Nether Ghost Emperor trembled, as if he had taken drugs. Heavens! 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 This world is too crazy. Only when you lose it, do you know how precious energy is. Then, the Nether Ghost Emperor quickly took out his share and devoured it crazily. Yang Dingtian began to recover his battle chi, preparing for the next wave of killing. Because there was not much time left, the 2 moons were already in the west, and the Great Tebu Day was about to end. Soon, Yang Dingtian arrived at the next wave, which was already 400 miles away. There were even more undead here, more than 10,000 of them. However, their levels were too low, the highest was only 9th level. Even 10th level undead couldn't be seen. This should be the outermost area of this area. Although killing this batch of undead was relatively easy, the price-performance ratio was too low. Thus, Yang Dingtian decided to try another undead area. If he could encounter a wave of 2,000 undead of between 10th and 13th level, that would be too awesome. After making the decision, he immediately went to do it. Yang Dingtian used the demonic mist cloak's blink technique. He quickly flew towards the south, looking for the next undead area. This was a simple matter. Yang Dingtian didn't care about the consumption of his Xian Qi at all. He used the blink technique and rushed 1,000 miles away, discovering a brand new undead area. He directly rushed to the outermost area, where there were more than 10,000 low-level undead. Yang Dingtian didn't rush in immediately, but sat down cross-legged to restore his combat Xian Qi. Originally, Yang Dingtian was worried that if he wasn't the overlord of this area, these undead would be afraid of him and rebel. As a result, he worried too much. When he appeared in this group of undead, the tens of thousands of undead were motionless, standing there, and all stopped killing each other. After restoring his combat Xian Qi, Yang Dingtian began to go deeper. Soon, he encountered the undead group that he had dreamed of. This wave of undead was more wonderful than Yang Dingtian had imagined. There were nearly 3,000 undead, with the lowest being 9th level, and the highest being 13th level. The situation of this group of undead was simply perfect. At this time, the 2 moons were already very far to the west, and there wasn't much time left. This was definitely the last wave of hunting, and it was also the wave of hunting that Yang Dingtian had reaped the most rewards. He took a deep breath. He summoned 3 Xian flames, and then injected all his Xian Qi energy. The 3 Xian flames flew into the air and slammed into each other. Boom! The unparalleled Xian flame lightning suddenly enveloped the whole group of 3,000 undead. Once again, there was a violent light like a nuclear bomb. Countless low-level undead were instantly turned into ashes. Fast, 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 Yang Dingtian took the Xian gathering pill regardless of the cost to restore his combat Xian Qi. Then, he released the second Xian flame lightning as fast as he could. Boom! In the light of the power of blinding, countless undead were instantly turned into ashes. In this way, Yang Dingtian restored his Xian Qi as fast as he could, and released the Xian flame lightning as fast as he could. The 10th attack. The 15th attack. The 20th attack. The 2 moons were constantly slanting to the west, and the end of the Great Forbidden Day was getting closer and closer. And around Yang Dingtian, the surviving high undead were getting fewer and fewer. The 23rd attack. The 25th attack. Soon, there were only a few high undead in the surroundings. Boom! Yang Dingtian suddenly released the last Xian flame lightning. In an instant, the last few high undead were all turned into ashes. In the air, there were 3,000 hell magic crystals floating. Sure enough, it was the most abundant harvest. Yang Dingtian's hunting feast was over. Next, it was time to count all the harvest of the Great Forbidden Day. It was really a case of not opening for half a month, but opening for 100 years. Chapter 827. Just as Yang Dingtian was about to reap his fruits of labor, then there was a sudden flash in front of his eyes, and suddenly, a brand new undead suddenly appeared in front of Yang Dingtian. Yang Dingtian was stunned at first. He had clearly finished killing all of them just now. Why was there another one running over? However, when he opened his eyes to see clearly, he was almost scared out of his wits. Because this undead's body was emitting a colorless light. That's right, it was colorless. This could only mean one thing. This undead was a level 20 saint level undead. Yang Dingtian's body was completely unable to move in an instant. It should be the undead overlord of this area. Yang Dingtian should have invaded its territory, so it came to defend its authority. This saint-level undead monarch stared at Yang Dingtian with its transparent and colorless eyes. After a long time, it slowly raised the sword in its hand without saying a word. This sword was a skeletal bone sword, and it was releasing an incomparably terrifying aura from all over its body. It seemed that this was a very silent undead monarch. Yang Dingtian's celestial qi at this time was almost exhausted. Of course, even if his celestial qi was full, it would be useless. If he was cut down by the opponent's sword, he would definitely die. In front of an 18th level powerhouse, he was incomparably weak, let alone a 20-level saint-level powerhouse. Before, when Yang Dingtian entered this undead territory, he had also thought about this problem. Would he anger the undead overlord of this area? But thinking that he was faster, the undead overlord should only care about those high-level undead. Yang Dingtian only hunted the undead in the periphery, so it shouldn't mind. As a result, this undead monarch minded. Looking at the sword raised by the undead monarch, Yang Dingtian suddenly said, "Your Excellency, do you know Xiu Piaoyan? I am his successor." When Yang Dingtian said this sentence again, it felt as if a crack had opened in the ground, and then he had drilled into it. How shameful. He was using the tiger's skin as a banner. But after hearing Yang Dingtian's words, this undead monarch did not have any reaction. Just like before, he slashed down with his sword. My life is over. At this point, releasing the Naga Shuang would be useless. Even so, it could only give this undead monarch a temporary shock. Although he couldn't kill Naga, he could still kill Yang Dingtian. Just as Yang Dingtian was about to be smashed into pieces, suddenly, the two enormous moons descended. The bone sword that the undead monarch used to slash at Yang Dingtian suddenly disappeared. Then, the undead lord also disappeared inch by inch, turning into endless darkness. Yang Dingtian didn't even have the time to exclaim in surprise. He used the last of his profound qi to quickly collect the hell magic crystals in the air. He didn't even have time to store them in the energy jade box, and directly poured them into the soul ring. As the great taboo day ended, the energy field of the dark realm would change, and the energy crystals would turn into nothing. In less than a few seconds, Yang Dingtian flashed a few dozen kilometers, and collected more than half of the hell mana crystals. At this moment, the Netherworld Ghost Emperor suddenly shouted, it's full, you can't enter." It turned out that the soul ring was already full. There were too many hell magic crystals. It was too late. Yang Dingtian quickly poured the rest of the hell magic crystals into the interspatial ring. This was an absolutely isolated space, and it had a very limited volume. Therefore, the hell magic crystals couldn't evaporate, and could be stored for a long time. Finally, the great taboo day was completely over. The two moons had completely disappeared, and the powerful yin energy that filled the dark realm had also completely disappeared. The two suns in the east would rise again after a period of time. Although Yang Dingtian's speed was already extremely fast, there was still a small portion of the hell magic crystals that turned into ashes in the air, dispersing into wisps of death energy and dissipating in the dark realm. Yang Dingtian sighed and thought to himself, there's nothing perfect in this world. Tonight was already extremely sumptuous. Perhaps a little bit of regret would be the best result. At this moment, the Netherworld Ghost Emperor suddenly shouted, quickly take out your level 18 Hell Magic Crystal. How do I do it? Yang Dingtian asked loudly. The Netherworld Ghost Emperor said, use light lightning to strike yourself. Yang Dingtian quickly used Devil Sky Splitting Lightning to strike himself directly. Immediately, his whole body broke away from the shadow of the 18th step undead, Overlord with Cold Cicada. Immediately after, the level 18 undead Overlord's shadow quickly condensed into a level 18 Hell Magic Crystal, and was about to be completely annihilated. Yang Dingtian used lightning speed to stuff it into the soul ring. The Netherworld Ghost Emperor had just devoured a lot of his own Hell Magic Crystals, so this level 18 Hell Magic Crystal safely entered the soul ring. However, its energy was still a little lacking. Yang Dingtian didn't have time to take inventory, because the last wave of Hell Magic Crystals was too sumptuous. The Netherworld Ghost Emperor still needed some time to finish devouring and purifying. He quickly sat down cross-legged and recovered his battle Xianqi. After nearly 15 minutes, Yang Dingtian's Xianqi had completely recovered. Then, he used his fastest speed to fly towards the underground cave where Yao Li and the others were hiding. Using the blink technique, Yang Dingtian arrived 1,000 miles away in just an hour, where Yao Li and the others were hiding. Before he could lift the rock, Yao Li's voice came from inside. Yang Dingtian, is that you? Yes, it's me, Yang Dingtian said. Suddenly, the rock was lifted and Yang Dingtian quickly flashed in. As soon as he entered the cave, Yao Zi's voluptuous body pounced on him and said, you're finally back. I was so worried about you. Then, under Yao Li's murderous gaze, Yao Zi unwillingly let go of Yang Dingtian. Then, she opened her big eyes and said, Mr. Yang Dingtian, was it fun? Did you get a lot? Yang Dingtian nodded. Yao Zi said, Sai, I shouldn't have hidden back then. I should have gone with you. After saying that, she gently stuck out her tongue. She knew that what she said was ridiculous. As the Nether Ghost Emperor's purification of the Hell Magic Crystals was not completed, Yang Dingtian picked up the sword and began to modify the underground cave. Although it was difficult to modify it into a 4-room, 2-living-room layout, it was still possible to make the cave bigger and more comfortable for the 6 of them. In the end, 4 to 5 hours passed. Yao Li and the others really managed to dig out 2 rooms. Finally, the Nether Ghost Emperor's purification and essence work was completed. After devouring the portion that belonged to him, the remaining Hell Magic Crystals were all refined into energy essence. Just as Yang Dingtian was about to take out the energy essence, Yao Li suddenly said, Everyone follow me to the other room. Immediately, the 5 of them all went to the other room. Although Yao Li trusted Bo Lu and the others, she was still worried that they would have other thoughts when faced with such a large amount of energy essence. More importantly, she felt that not knowing Yang Dingtian's specific harvest was beneficial to both sides. Yang Dingtian felt that it was unnecessary, but Yao Li was still determined to do so. Thus, only Yang Dingtian was left in the stone room to do the inventory. Immediately, Yang Dingtian saw that there were more and more Hell Magic Crystals in his hands. More and more. A few dozen, a few hundred, a few thousand. There were actually a few thousand of them. This harvest was simply too crazy and bountiful. Yang Dingtian was extremely happy. The results were out. After deducting the Nether Ghost Emperor's share, the energy essence was as follows. Level 16 2. Level 15 5. Level 14 8. Level 13 40. Level 12 115. Level 11 373. Level 10 1123. Level 9 1958. Level 8 1235. Of course, there was also a portion of the Hell Magic Crystals that Yang Dingtian kept in the interspatial ring. A considerable portion of the low-level undead essence was directly devoured by the Nether Ghost Emperor. Yang Dingtian could not help but ask, Ghost Emperor, you've devoured so many Hell Magic Crystals. What's your cultivation level now? The Nether Ghost Emperor proudly said. How is it too much? It's only a quarter. Then he said, now I'm already at level 14 5th rank. Yang Dingtian was pleasantly surprised. You've only devoured a quarter, and you're already at level 14, 8th rank. How much will I break through? The Nether Ghost Emperor said. I think you should calm down first. Don't think about reaching the sky in a single step. I'm an energy body, you're a human. After devouring the hell magic crystals, I can absorb most of the energy and convert it into my own cultivation. But to break through a certain level of the Sea of Qi, you need 10 times or dozens of times the energy of the same level. So your conversion rate is less than a fraction of mine. Yang Dingtian said. Then, how much do you think I'll break through? If you devoured all of them, you'll probably be at level 13, the Nether Ghost Emperor said. How is that possible? Yang Dingtian said in shock. My harvest this time is more than others in 100 years. That's right, the Nether Ghost Emperor said. But the experts in the Little Western Paradise who cultivate here need at least 200 years to break through to level 13 from level 11. It's not like you don't know Yao Li's situation. Yang Dingtian was stunned. That's right. Yao Li was the young master of the Silvermoon clan. He cultivated in the Dark Realm twice, but still did not break through to Half-Step Saint. Now it seemed that humans were the most powerful intelligent life forms. The time needed to break through to level 9 was the shortest. Unfortunately, humans had a limited lifespan. Moreover, the capacity of their Sea of Qi and Xian meridians were limited. So, after the Great Nirvana, it was very difficult to cultivate to the Saint Realm. However, there were still Saint Realm experts 500 years ago. Although their numbers were very few, they still existed. Yang Dingtian could not imagine how the experts from 500 years ago broke through to Saint Realm. But obviously, it was impossible to do it normally. They must have had a great opportunity. Otherwise, they would not be able to break through to Saint Realm in 200 or 300 years. However, there seemed to be no records of how these people broke through to Saint Realm. Subsequently, Yang Dingtian fused the energy essences and fused all the energy essences to the peak of each class. In the end, there were a total of 80 peak level 9 level 8, 130 peak level 9 level 9, 80 energy essences close to level 11, 32 energy essences close to level 12, 21 energy essences close to level 13. Above level 13, there was no need to fuse them. They were still the same. Sure enough, once the fusion was completed, the harvest did not seem to be that great. Yang Dingtian went outside and met with Yao Li and the others. He said, about the distribution this time, this is what I plan to do. You don't have to say it. Yao Li said, we will never accept it. If we accept it, it will be a stain on our dignity. The Fox Demon clan will never accept handouts. Yang Dingtian was startled and said, but I might really need your strength. Yao Li said, no matter what kind of name it is, this is reaping without sowing. Yang Dingtian took a deep breath and said, Yao Zi Awan Awu, how many energy essences do we need to break through to level 11? Yao Li said, you don't have to ask that. Yang Dingtian said, just tell me. Yao Zi said, we need about 20 energy essences close to level 11 and 2 energy essences close to level 12 to break through. That's about the same as my estimation. Yang Dingtian took out 3 energy jade boxes and handed them to Yao Zi. In each box, there are 20 energy essences close to level 11 and 2 energy essences close to level 12. Seeing that Yao Li was about to stand up, Yang Dingtian said, listen to me first. Yang Dingtian said, Yao Li, it will be more difficult for you to break through to level 12 from level 11, level 8, because this is a major rank. You need about 6 energy essences close to level 12 and 3 energy essences close to level 13. Then, Yang Dingtian took out another box and said, the energy essences here should be enough for you to break through to level 12. Yang Dingtian looked at Bo Lu and said, if you want to break through to level 12, you might need more energy essences. The ones in this box should be enough for you to break through to level 12. As soon as these words came out, Bo Lu's expression changed drastically. He was an attendant, and Yao Li was the master. This time, the energy essences he received were actually more than Yao Li. A1 and A-Wu were also attendants, and the energy essences they received were actually the same as Yao Zi. Immediately, Bo Lu, A1, and A-Wu felt a complete shudder from the inside out. Of course, my allocation this time is all based on needs. There is only one goal, and that is to not turn and run when we encounter level 12 energy essences. Yang Dingtian said. Bo Lu, Yao Li and I have all broken through to level 12, and I have even broken through to a higher level. Then, in the following time, not only can we fight level 12, we can even fight level 13, and our cultivation base will advance by leaps and bounds. Of course, this kind of allocation based on needs will only be done once. In the future, we will still follow Yao Li's allocation method. Yao Li waited until Yang Dingtian finished speaking, and her expression was solemn. She immediately wanted to reject Yang Dingtian's gift. Yang Dingtian stopped her and said, "I'm not a villain, and I'm not a gentleman." Chapter 828. Although there were a lot of energy essences given to Yao Li and the others, especially those close to level 12, there were a total of 32. Yang Dingtian directly gave out more than half of them. In the beginning, Yang Dingtian wanted to devour these close to level 12 energy essences. When the critical moment came, he would use these close to level 13 energy essences to advance by leaps and bounds. This was also the most reasonable plan. Out of the 32 close to level 12, Yang Dingtian gave out 17, leaving him with 15. Of course, Yang Dingtian was already very close to level 11 first grade, so he broke through almost instantly and almost didn't spend any energy essences. Soon Yang Dingtian broke through level 11 second grade. At this time, the first close to level 12 energy essence was exhausted, and the second was also half consumed. Boom! Yang Dingtian broke through level 11 third grade. At this time, more than half of the fifth energy essence was also consumed. Boom! Yang Dingtian broke through level 11 fourth grade. At this time, the seventh close to level 12 energy essence had been exhausted. Boom! When Yang Dingtian broke through level 11 fifth grade, the 10th close to level 12 energy essence had been exhausted. Boom! When Yang Dingtian broke through level 11 sixth grade, the 14th close to level 12 energy essence was exhausted. Then, the last close to level 12 energy essence was exhausted. Yang Dingtian began to devour the close to level 13 energy essence. In fact, at this time, he could keep a part of the ordinary level 12 energy essence and break through safely. But Yang Dingtian still chose the ultimate level energy essence. This way, the breakthrough would be very powerful, and there would be no waste of energy. Sure enough, when the close to level 13 energy essence poured into Yang Dingtian's body, he saw a white light in front of his eyes, and then his whole body instantly fell into nothingness. This close to level 13 energy essence was really too powerful. In just a moment, Yang Dingtian suddenly rushed to level 11, 7th grade. Boom! In a moment, he directly rushed to level 11, 8th grade. Then, when he was about to break through level 11, 9th grade, the first close to level 13 energy essence was completely exhausted. Look, this was the strength of the ultimate energy essence. It was not sloppy at all, but rather a mad dash. The second energy essence that was close to level 13 surged in. As expected, a powerful energy surged in. Yang Dingtian directly broke through to the 9th rank of the 11th step, and then continued to soar rapidly. The 9th, 12th, and 15th stages were all major stages. Of course, the 9th and 15th ranks were more important. No matter how big the 12th level was, it was just a passing hurdle. After breaking through to the 9th rank of the 11th step, the energy essence continued to pour in. Soon, Yang Dingtian's sea of qi began to expand. The second one's energy essence, which was close to level 13, was exhausted. His sea of qi was still expanding, but it lacked the motivation to make a sudden breakthrough. The third energy essence that was close to rank 13 surged in. Boom, boom, boom. Finally, when the third one was close to rank 13, the energy essence was exhausted. Yang Dingtian successfully broke through the 12th stage. Yang Dingtian had 21 energy essences that were close to rank 13. After giving away 5, he still had 16 left. Now 3 were used to break through to the 12th stage, and there were 13 left. Only 1 was used to break through to the first rank of the 12th stage. 2 were used to break through to the second rank of the 12th stage. 2.5 were used to break through to the third rank of the 12th stage. 4 were used to break through to the fourth rank of the 12th stage. From this data, it could be seen that the energy essence needed to break through the Sea of Qi was not very regular. There was only a general pattern, and it would be more or less completely based on various situations. And when Yang Dingtian used up all the energy essences close to rank 12, he had not broken through to the 5th rank of the 12th stage. At this time, he still had about 40 energy essences of rank 13 in his hands. He could choose to directly devour the energy essences of rank 13, or he could choose to synthesize the 40 energy essences close to rank 14. After hesitating for a while, Yang Dingtian still chose to synthesize. After synthesizing the 40 energy essences of rank 13, there were only 6 energy essences close to rank 14 left. Yang Dingtian took a deep breath. With this number, it should not be a problem to break through to the 13th stage. Yang Dingtian's devouring continued, and began to devour the energy essences close to rank 14. In an instant, the golden light flashed in front of his eyes, and the feeling of completely losing consciousness came again. Boom! In an instant, the incomparably powerful energy essence madly entered. Yang Dingtian's Sea of Qi did not seem to break through, but directly exploded to the 5th rank of the 12th stage. Then, without any pause, he directly broke through to the 6th rank of the 12th stage. Then, the energy surged in again, and directly broke through to the 7th rank of the 12th stage. At this time, the first energy essence close to rank 14 was used up. The second energy essence close to rank 14 began to be devoured. Boom! Yang Dingtian broke through to the 8th rank of the 12th stage. But when he was about to break through to the 9th rank of the 12th stage, the second energy essence close to rank 14 was used up. He began to devour the third energy essence close to rank 14. Boom! As expected, Yang Dingtian directly broke through to the 9th rank of the 12th stage. Then he began to break through again. When the third energy essence close to rank 14 was used up, the Sea of Qi did not change much. When the fourth was used up, the Sea of Qi began to expand. When the fifth was used up, the Sea of Qi expanded to the limit. When the sixth began to devour, the Sea of Qi suddenly exploded. Boom! Yang Dingtian finally got his wish, and broke through to the 13th rank. Moreover, this sixth energy essence close to rank 14 still did not stop after breaking through to the 13th rank, directly allowing Yang Dingtian to break through to the first rank of the 13th rank. It seemed that the breakthrough of devouring energy essence, within a certain range, really did not have a very accurate pattern to speak of. From the 9th rank of the 11th rank, breaking through to the 12th rank, it only used about 2 energy essences close to the 13th rank. However, to break through to the 13th rank, it actually used nearly 4. Of course, although he finally broke through to the first rank of the 13th rank, the energy essence consumed was indeed a little more. Yang Dingtian opened his eyes. At this time, several hours had already passed. His devouring and breakthrough was almost over. This meant that the harvest of the entire Great Taboo Day was almost over. Of course, Yang Dingtian still had a batch of energy essences close to the 9th rank, the 10th rank, and the 11th rank at this time. This was because, although devouring energy essences lower than the cultivation level was effective, the cost-performance ratio was not high. Therefore, Yang Dingtian planned to bring this batch of energy essences back to the human countries and give it to the higher-ups of the Council of Light to help them break through their cultivation level. At this time, Yang Dingtian still had 8 energy essences close to the 14th rank, 5 energy essences close to the 15th rank, 2 unpurified hell magic crystals of the 16th rank, and 1 unpurified hell magic crystal of the 18th rank. And in his space ring, there was still a batch of hell magic crystals that had not been purified in time. There were probably a few hundred of them, or perhaps 1,000 of them. However, Yang Dingtian wasn't able to estimate the exact class. At this time, Yang Dingtian was faced with another choice. Should he devour the remaining 8 energy essences of the 14th rank? According to his estimation, these 8 energy essences could be combined into one energy essence close to the 15th rank, and then there would be about 1 or 2 left. After thinking for a moment, Yang Dingtian still decided to combine the 8 energy essences of the 14th rank. Sure enough, in the end, he only managed to combine one energy essence close to the 15th rank, leaving behind an ordinary 14th rank. Yang Dingtian held this huge energy essence close to the 15th rank, and could not help but feel a little shaken. This energy essence was close to the golden color. Yang Dingtian decided to try devouring an ordinary 14th rank energy essence. Soon Yang Dingtian discovered its characteristics. Soon, Yang Dingtian discovered why he had to combine the ultimate energy essence. The energy contained in this 14th rank energy essence was very sufficient and very strong, surpassing that of close to the 14th rank. However, it was not strong. The process of entering the body and energy reserve was relatively slow. Therefore, during the whole process, there was a huge overflow and waste. In the end, this 14th rank 4th rank energy essence was clearly stronger than the energy essence close to the 14th rank, but it took close to 20 minutes for it to be completely devoured. In the end, Yang Dingtian swallowed this 14th rank 4th rank energy essence and broke through to the 13th rank 2nd rank. That was all. And if Yang Dingtian had swallowed an energy essence close to the 14th rank, it might not even take 1.5 to achieve such a breakthrough. And the energy contained in the 14th rank 4th rank energy essence was several times that of close to the 14th rank. It seemed that there was no need to think about it in the future, and it was right to combine the ultimate energy essence directly. Because when 5 or 6 energy essences were combined together, the degree of energy condensation would be much higher, and the impact would be much stronger. Immediately after, Yang Dingtian held the combined ultimate energy essence in his hand, which was close to the 15th rank. It was already faintly golden. Taking a deep breath, Yang Dingtian began to devour. Pfft! Almost suddenly, he spat out a mouthful of blood. Yang Dingtian only felt that his whole body was about to explode violently, and his whole body was almost smashed into pieces in an instant. He had made a mistake. He had to at least reach the 13th rank 6th rank before he could devour an energy essence close to the 15th rank. Otherwise, his body would not be able to withstand it. It was also fortunate that the Xian meridians and Sea of Qi in his body had been transformed by the Nagashian meridians. Otherwise, his body would have exploded, his Xian meridians shattered, and he would be deader than dead. Then, in the midst of unparalleled pain, powerful energy madly poured into Yang Dingtian's Sea of Qi. Boom! He broke through the 13th rank 3rd rank. Boom! He broke through the 13th rank 4th rank. Boom! He broke through the 13th rank 5th rank. In the end, his Sea of Qi was still expanding, as if it was ready to break through the 13th rank 6th rank. But in the end, it still did not break through. This combined ultimate energy essence was indeed incomparably powerful. He absolutely could not touch the 15th rank energy essence. Yang Dingtian began to think that there were about 1,000 hell magic crystals in his space ring. If he purified them into energy essence and devoured them, would he break through the 14th rank? Suddenly, Yang Dingtian was filled with anticipation. Chapter 829. Ghost Emperor. I still have a batch of hell magic crystals in my space ring. What should I do? Yang Dingtian asked. Can I transfer them to the soul ring as fast as I can? The Netherworld Ghost Emperor said. No, the entire dark realm is filled with yang energy. If the hell magic crystals are exposed to the outside world for even a moment, they will be completely destroyed. This is completely different from when the 2 moons first fell. At that time, the dark realm was still filled with yang energy. Yang Dingtian asked. Then what should I do? The Netherworld Ghost Emperor said. There are 2 ways. The first way is to bring it to the netherworld plane and take it out. Then, before the countless undead experts attack, use the fastest speed to purify it into energy essence. Yang Dingtian said, "Who knows how long that will take? Tell me the second way." The Netherworld Ghost Emperor said, "The second way is to ask this old man to purify them in your space ring. Don't even think about it." Yang Dingtian instinctively reacted like this, because the sleeping Naga Shuang was in the space ring, and she was barely wearing anything. Although the Netherworld Ghost Emperor was not a human, and was only an energy life form, Yang Dingtian did not want anyone to see Naga Shuang's body. Or rather, Yang Dingtian did not want anyone to discover Naga Shuang's secret. Then forget it. Let's talk about this batch of hell magic crystals later. Yang Dingtian asked, "Ghost Emperor, tell me honestly, what did you give to Wulingzi 200 years ago, and Dishi Bian 200 years ago?" The Netherworld Ghost Emperor was silent for a moment. "It's a small part of the Netherworld Ghost Fire that I have accumulated for 10,000 years. Yang Dingtian said, "That means although it's a small part, its power and attributes are still there." "Yes," the Netherworld Ghost Emperor said. "Otherwise, do you think that any random flame can give someone eternal life?" Yang Dingtian, "Since you can purify the hell crystal, does that mean that Wulingzi and Dishi Bian can also do it?" The Nether Ghost Emperor was silent for a moment before he said, "Do you want to ask how Wulingzi broke through to the half-step saint realm?" "Yes," Yang Dingtian said. "I've discovered that with the current environment of the human countries, I've already lost the opportunity to break through to the half-saint level. Wulingzi can't compare to Zhu Qingzhu and Dugashao. He doesn't look like someone who can break through to the half-step saint realm." The Netherworld Ghost Emperor said, "That's right, Wulingzi and Dishi Bian can both purify hell magic crystals. However, the two of them didn't need to do that, because they could directly devour hell magic crystals. The hell magic crystal has a fatal death energy, but these two have a part of the Netherworld Ghost flame, so they don't fear natural death." Finally, Yang Dingtian understood how Wulingzi broke through to the half-step saint realm. He was completely the same as the Netherworld Ghost Emperor, directly devouring ghosts and undead to break through. No wonder he could break through to the half-step saint realm with such a character. Zhu Qingzhu and Dugashao, such outstanding people, could only desperately approach the half-step saint realm and never truly break through. Wulingzi was much weaker in all aspects, but he could break through. Now countless people in the entire southern barbarian continent had died under his demonic claws. The several battlefields in the chaotic continent had probably become Wulingzi's carnival grounds. Dishi Bian, on the other hand, didn't know anything about this. As expected of the world's third arcane flame, it was really awesome. Not only did it have an out-of-body experience, but it could also directly devour undead to break through. Yang Dingtian's Void Fissure Flame could create spatial doors, cross the void border, and mix in arcane flame lightning. Other than that, Yang Dingtian didn't know what other heaven-defying abilities it had. Yang Dingtian couldn't allow the Netherworld Ghost Emperor to enter the spatial ring, so he had to think of another way to get the hell magic crystals. However, he could count them in the spatial ring. Thus, Yang Dingtian's divine sense entered the spatial ring and counted the hell magic crystals. Immediately after, Yang Dingtian's entire body was drenched in cold sweat. "What's going on? What's going on? Where did the 1,000 or so hell magic crystals go? Why are there only a few dozen left?" Yang Dingtian desperately searched in the spatial ring, but there were only a few dozen left. Yang Dingtian hurriedly asked, "Ghost Emperor, will the hell magic crystals be destroyed in the spatial ring?" "Impossible," the Netherworld Ghost Emperor said. "The spatial ring's isolated space is very small. Even if one hell magic crystal is destroyed, it will be completely filled. Out of the 1,000 hell magic crystals, at most 1 or 2 will be destroyed." Yang Dingtian was shocked. Was he seeing a ghost? He had clearly put in 1,000 hell magic crystals, so why were there only a few dozen left? However, Yang Dingtian quickly discovered the reason. Because he discovered that the remaining few dozen hell magic crystals were still decreasing. He saw that one of the level 14 hell magic crystals had turned into a ball of golden light. Then, As Naga Shuang's breathing rose and fell, this ball of golden light entered Naga Shuang's body. One had to know that because there was no air in the interspatial ring, Naga Shuang did not breathe when she slept. But now, she was actually breathing not air, but the energy of the hell magic crystals. It had been a full day since Yang Dingtian put in the 1,000 hell magic crystals. Naga Shuang had unknowingly devoured all the hell magic crystals in her sleep, and there were only a few dozen left. Moreover, she was still devouring them. Soon, Yang Dingtian watched as the Naga Shuang devoured all the hell magic crystals one by one, leaving nothing behind. Perhaps this was the will of the heavens. Yang Dingtian didn't stop her. Perhaps this was the best outcome. Previously, although Naga Shuang had transformed and become stronger after devouring life, she had also become cruel. In the last few times, she couldn't help but attack Yang Dingtian. Therefore, he could only coax her to sleep most of the time, and didn't dare to let her transform and appear again. This was because whenever she woke up, she would be very hungry, and when she was hungry, she would desperately devour, and after that, she would lose her mind. If this continued, Naga Shuang would one day become an incomparably bloodthirsty and cruel demigod, and might even destroy the entire world. This was because Naga Shuang's ability to devour energy was even more terrifying than that of the ancient Naga. In the ancient Naga, there was still cultivation, and most of the time, they only devoured the energy of nature. In Shuang-Er's generation of Naga, she had begun to devour life directly. This way, her cultivation would advance by leaps and bounds, but also become even more terrifying. If she was allowed to continue devouring, she would definitely devour the last life in this world, and in the end, she would be the only one left. At this time, although Naga Shuang was still devouring to become stronger, she was doing it in her sleep, so it was more gentle. It shouldn't have any effect on her temperament. Then, Yang Dingtian couldn't help but look at Shuang-Er's transformation. Last time, after devouring the energy of the Rakshasa, she had transformed by 4 inches, and half of her thighs had turned into human form. Her cultivation had also reached mid-level martial grandmaster. Now that Yang Dingtian carefully looked at Shuang-Er's body, he was really shocked. This time, it was several times larger than the last time, and she had transformed by more than a foot. A few inches below Shuang-Er's knees were already human. She was already very close to completely transforming into a human. This was the biggest transformation in Shuang-Er's history. Once her thighs and feet completely transformed, Shuang-Er would completely transform into human form. At that time, she would be able to copulate with Yang Dingtian. At that time, she would completely become one with Yang Dingtian. And Yang Dingtian would also have some demigod attributes. Although it had been several years since Naga Shuang's transformation, Yang Dingtian was really not mentally prepared for Shuang-Er's complete transformation. It was much faster than he had imagined. Taking a deep breath, Yang Dingtian did not dare to disturb Naga Shuang at all, lest she woke up. Although Yang Dingtian trusted Yaoli very much, Naga Shuang's secret could not be exposed. Thus, Yang Dingtian's harvest on the Great Taboo Day officially came to an end. In the end, Yang Dingtian's cultivation was at level 13 5th rank, 1/5 rank away from level 15 half-saint. In just one Great Taboo Day, he had broken through to level 2 5th rank, far surpassing all the achievements of the past few months in the Dark Realm. Everyone's breakthroughs had ended. Yao Zi, A1, and Awu had broken through to level 11. Yao Li and Bo Lu had broken through to level 12. Yang Dingtian had broken through to level 13 5th rank, which was much higher than what the Nether Ghost Emperor had expected. At this time the day had ended, and it was night again. After the 6 of them had fully recovered their battle chi, they reluctantly returned to the surface, and continued north to search for elemental creatures. After the Great Taboo Day, the elemental creatures were the most active. Therefore, in less than an hour, Yang Dingtian's countless wraiths found a cave. After entering, they were a little disappointed. It was a Naruto level 12 demonic succubus. This type of elemental creature sounded charming, but it was actually a fire snake with wings. Its specialty was that it had countless clones, and no one knew which one was real. If it had been in the past, it would have been a headache. But now, the 6 of them were using the most direct and violent method. Yang Dingtian directly used the demonic spirit Demon Fire's body immobilization technique to lock all the clones. Then, the 6 of them crazily released their ice chi. In a moment, the Naruto level 12 demonic succubus was destroyed. Then, Yang Dingtian automatically handed over the position of leader and handed the energy demonic crystal to Yao Li for safekeeping. After the few of them left the cave, they immediately used their fastest speed to recover their demonic chi, and then immediately went to explore the next cave. In just 2 hours, they found another cave. Unfortunately, it was still a level 11 elemental creature, and the 6 of them easily destroyed it. Another 4 hours passed. Countless wraiths discovered energy fluctuations again. It seemed that after the Great Taboo Day, there would be a wave of elemental creatures' activity. Tonight, they had already discovered 3. The third one was quite lucky. They encountered a level 13 flame demon. Immediately, Yao Li and the rest completely retreated to one side, letting Yang Dingtian attack independently. Previously, when Yang Dingtian was not even level 10, he destroyed a level 11 flame demon on his own. Currently, Yang Dingtian was at the 5th grade of the 13th rank. It was as easy as blowing off dust for him to eliminate a 13th grade flame demon. In just 7.5 minutes, Yang Dingtian used demonic spirit demon fire plus void rending fire to create countless black holes on the flame demon's body. Then it turned to ashes, dying tragically. After the hunt was completed, Yang Dingtian handed this 13-class 8th grade energy crystal to Yao Li. Then he left at lightning speed, searching for the next target. This night, Yang Dingtian's team hunted a total of 5 elemental creatures. 3 level 11, 1 level 12, and 1 level 13. And this kind of frenzy, after the Great Taboo Day, was not over yet. During the day, the harvest was actually even more bountiful. They hunted a full 6 elemental creatures. Furthermore, among them 1 was level 13, 2 were level 12, and 3 were level 11. It turned out that the yin energy of the Great Taboo Sun and Moon brought considerable weakness to the elemental creatures of the Dark Realm. Therefore, after the Great Taboo Day ended, countless elemental creatures came to the ground one after another, absorbing the yin energy of the 2 suns to make up for the losses caused by the Great Taboo Day. Therefore, half a month before the Great Taboo Day, the entire Dark Realm might have no harvest at all. But 2 months after the Great Taboo Day, the activity of elemental creatures would become very turbulent. Therefore, it was also the most bountiful time for hunters. On the second night of the Great Taboo Day, not only did the harvest not decrease, it increased instead. Yang Dingtian's team had hunted a total of 8 of them, which was their biggest harvest ever. Furthermore, this time, there were a total of 3 level 13. It was just that one of them was too powerful, so Yang Dingtian's team gave up. But even so, there were still 2 level 13, 3 level 12, and 2 level 11. Just like this, the 6 people completely did not sleep or rest, regardless of day or night, crazily hunting all day long, absolutely not missing this rare elemental creature activity frenzy. Amidst this extreme busyness, 2 months' time flew by quickly. The elemental creature frenzy, brought about by the Great Taboo Day, ended. Yang Dingtian and the others also ended the most sumptuous elemental creature feast. In these 2 months, the 6 of them had made another great breakthrough. Chapter 830. In these 2 months, the 6 of them hunted a total of 635 elemental creatures day and night without rest. On average, they killed more than 10 elemental creatures per day. Among them, there were a total of 82 13th rank monstrous beasts. Thus, the energy essences of the 82 beasts were synthesized into 13 14th rank energy essences. The 12th rank monstrous beasts were the most numerous. There were over 303 of them. In total, 46 13th rank energy essences were synthesized. The remaining ones were all 11th rank, or even 10th rank. There were over 200 of them in total. In total, They synthesized about 30 12th rank energy essences. As for Yao Li's method of distribution, there was also a change. It was no longer a fixed ratio. Instead, it was still distributed according to need. All of the 14th rank energy essences were given to Yang Dingtian. Of the 13th rank energy essences, she received 15 for herself. Bo Lu received 10, Yaozi received 9, and Awen and Awu received 6 each. All of the 12th rank energy essences were given to Azi, Awen and Awu. Yang Dingtian devoured the 14th rank energy essences. He broke through to the 8th rank of the 13th rank, from the 5th rank of the 13th rank. That's right. However, after reaching the 8th rank of the 13th rank, the higher one went, the more energy essences one needed. Yao Li devoured 15 13th rank energy essences. She broke through to the 6th rank of the 12th rank, from the 1st rank of the 12th rank. Bo Lu also broke through to the 5th rank of the 12th rank, from the 1st rank of the 12th rank. In these 2 months, Yao Zi, Awen and Awu had the most bountiful harvest. Yao Zi was originally at the 1st rank of the 11th rank. She devoured 10 12th rank energy essences. This allowed her to break through to the 4th rank of the 11th rank. Then, under Yao Li's protection, she devoured 9 13th rank energy essences. Merely the 3rd one allowed her to break through to the 12th rank. The remaining 6 directly allowed her to break through to the 3rd rank of the 12th rank. The gap between her and Bo Lu was not large. Under Yang Dingtian's guidance, Yao Li also began to work hard to increase Yao Zi, Awen and Awu's cultivation. She worked hard to make the 6 of them's cultivation more equal. As for Awen and Awu, they each obtained 10 12th rank energy essences and 6 13th rank energy essences respectively. Therefore, both of them broke through the 12th order and reached the 2nd rank of the 12th order. Now, in the team of 6, Yang Dingtian was at the 8th rank of the 13th rank, and the remaining 5 were all at the 12th rank. It could be considered a very balanced team. In the future battles against high-level elemental creatures, there would not always be 2 or 3 people watching from afar, unable to participate in the battle. Of course, in these 2 months of hunting, Yang Dingtian's contribution still accounted for more than 80% of the entire team. As for Yao Li, the reason she could calm down and let the team enjoy Yang Dingtian's fruits of labor was that she had already decided to lead the team to help Yang Dingtian fight the Doomsday Battle. That's right, she wanted to be loyal to Chairman Yao Qi, but that would have to wait at least 100 years. Without Yang Dingtian, she would only be able to leave this place after 200 years. Therefore, she could even leave the next 100 years to Yang Dingtian. This was because in just a few months, the harvest that Yang Dingtian had brought to the entire team was far more than what they had gained in 200 years under normal hunting conditions. The elemental frenzy after the great taboo day is over. Yang Dingtian sighed, full of reluctance. In the end, we still have to face the normal dark realm. Yao Li said. Moreover, our harvest has already far exceeded our own imagination. Yang Dingtian said. Under normal circumstances, how much would a team gain in these 2 months? Yao Li said. It would be 1/10 of our harvest. In the dark realm, the most important thing is to search for elemental creatures. Even in the midst of the elemental frenzy, it would be very impressive for a normal team to find one in a day. Under normal circumstances, it would be very normal to not find one in a few months. Yang Dingtian said. In that case, the efficiency of training in the dark realm is actually not very high. In Little Western Paradise, no matter how slow it is, it would still be faster than a harvest in a few months. Yao Li shook her head gently and said, Yang Dingtian, the environment has changed. Although the energy field of Little Western Paradise is stronger than that of the human countries, it is still limited. In your human countries, it is very difficult to even break through to the Great Grandmaster realm now. Only extremely talented people can do it. In Little Western Paradise, breaking through to the Great Grandmaster realm, or what we call the advanced rank, is of course not a problem. But in the energy field of Little Western Paradise, the cultivation of the 9th level is almost the limit. You can still continue to grow, but it is completely at the speed of a turtle. Yang Dingtian asked, "Why is that?" Yao Li said, "It is as if the energy field of nature and the sea of energy in the 9th level powerhouse have reached a balance. After breaking through to the 9th level, the celestial chi energy in nature seems to be very difficult to have any effect on the sea of energy." Yang Dingtian nodded. He understood. To put it in a very common way, it was a little similar to air pressure. After cultivating to the 9th level, the air pressure in the warrior sea of energy would exceed the overall energy pressure of nature. In this way, it would be very difficult for nature to provide energy to the sea of energy, because the two sides had reached a balance. This was also the reason why it was getting harder and harder to cultivate in the human countries. It was because the overall celestial chi energy in nature had been decreasing. Therefore, for Little Western Paradise, although the efficiency of the Dark Realm was not high, at least the breakthrough above the 9th level was still very straightforward. Therefore, it was also the only way to break through to the 15th and 20th level. All the experts also had to enter the Dark Realm to cultivate. "Okay, let's go," Yao Li said. "We are going back to the depression period again. The days of hunting 2 or 3 elemental creatures every day are not bad." Then, the 6 of them set off north again. As expected, they began to enter the depression period. After a full 6 hours, they still did not find anything. At the 4th hour, suddenly, the countless wraiths of the million spirit demon fire violently fluctuated. "Northwest 45 miles, Yang Dingtian said loudly. Then, the 6 of them ran wildly. Soon they arrived at their destination. Boom, boom, boom. As soon as they arrived, they heard a violent vibration. Then the hard ground suddenly cracked open, and countless things flew into the sky. Then, 9 huge heads suddenly rushed out of the ground. Yang Dingtian did not know if he was too lucky or too unlucky. Usually, when he saw a cave, he would enter the cave and see elemental creatures in the abyss. Now he just happened to encounter an elemental creature that dug through the cave and came to the surface. This was the first time. And for Yao Li, it was also the first time. They actually encountered an elemental creature digging a cave. This was a 9-headed snake. Of course, this was good news because they had once fought a 9-headed snake. Yang Dingtian's soul soared that was close to the emperor grade, and his flash art was like a bug to a 9-headed snake. However, there was another bad news. This was a 14th level Hydra. That's right, 14th level. In other words, it was equivalent to 9 14th level powerhouses. In other words, if they successfully hunted it, Yang Dingtian would be able to break through to 14th level. However, except for Yang Dingtian, everyone present was 12th level. There was a difference of 2 levels. In other words, none of these 5 people were a match for any of the Hydra's heads. They could only desperately entangle one of the Hydra's heads and rely on desperately dodging and escaping to stall for time. Of course, this was still under the circumstances of the abyss, because when the Hydra was fighting, its entire body would not leave the abyss. And now on the ground it could move at will. In other words, the 5 of them could not fight at all. If they were hit, they were destined to die. At this moment, the Hydra that rushed out of the ground discovered the 6 of them. Immediately, its 18 pairs of eyes revealed a bloodthirsty light, and then it chased after them crazily. "You guys run, run, run," Yang Dingtian said. After saying that, Yang Dingtian suddenly used blink and rushed towards the Hydra. Whoosh, with ease, Yang Dingtian jumped onto one of the Hydra's heads, and then used his near-emperor-grade soul sword to slash down. Creak! Immediately, the 9-headed snake let out a miserable howl that soared into the sky. Although in the vacuum, sound could not be transmitted, its incomparably huge body crazily slapped the ground. In an instant, the hard-as-iron ground was crazily lashed with thousands of holes and huge cracks. Earlier, Yang Dingtian's sword had abruptly slashed 5 inches deep. This was indeed a 14th level Hydra. It was really too hard. Yang Dingtian's near-emperor-grade soul sword could only slash 5 inches. Then for any other weapon, this Hydra was completely invincible. At this moment, Yang Dingtian stood on the Hydra's head and finally saw the full appearance of this Hydra. Each head was 5 or 6 meters thick. That's right, it was like a small house. The snake's body was more than 10 meters thick and hundreds of meters long. It was an extremely shocking behemoth. He really did not know how long it had been devouring the energy of the dark realm. At this time, Yang Dingtian roughly knew the composition of these elemental creatures. For example, the Hydra's body was condensed from the essence of the dark realm's ground. Although the ground of the dark realm was not entirely metal, because of gravity shrinkage, because of the extremely special environment, and most importantly because of the invasion of dark energy, the entire geological environment was already harder than metal. And the body of this Hydra was the essence of the depths of the dark realm. Naturally, it was completely invulnerable. Yang Dingtian's sword had penetrated 5 inches deep, which had already caused this 9-headed snake to be extremely astonished. Suddenly, the remaining 8 snake heads all attacked him crazily. Like a group of demons dancing wildly, the 8 ferocious and terrifying snake heads crisscrossed and crazily bit. Although these snake heads were very fast, it was still impossible for them to hit Yang Dingtian. His demon spirit flash technique was simply too fast. And his sword was even faster. Whoosh 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 whoosh. Almost in the blink of an eye, he slashed dozens of times. Immediately, the snake head in the middle was about to be cut off. However, just as Yang Dingtian was about to launch the final critical strike, boom! Suddenly, an incomparably powerful profound chi energy rebounded out. Pfft! Yang Dingtian suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood, and his whole body flew out. At the same time, one of the snake heads proudly opened its mouth, wanting to catch Yang Dingtian and chew him to pieces. Yang Dingtian quickly flashed and dodged the fatal snake's bite. This was troublesome. This 14th level Hydra had learned the profound chi rebound. What was profound chi rebound? When you used a physical attack to cut into its body with a sword, its profound chi would suddenly condense in one place and burst out directly at the place where you hit it. Suddenly, not only would you be unable to cut in at all, this powerful profound chi energy would also fiercely enter your body from your sword, causing great damage to you. Of course, now that Yang Dingtian was at the 8th level of the 13th level, even a 14th level profound chi rebound would not be able to cause him fatal injuries. Yang Dingtian looked at the Hydra and couldn't help but sneer. You think I can't do anything just because you know the profound chi rebound? Dream on. Next, he began to flash quickly, shuttling back and forth between the 9 snake heads, randomly slashing at them. In other words, the Hydra didn't know where Yang Dingtian was going to attack next. So even if it wanted to use profound chi rebound, it was too late. Because Yang Dingtian was not targeting one place at all. Whoosh 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 whoosh. In an instant, Yang Dingtian had violently slashed a few hundred times on this 9-headed snake. Soon the Hydra also changed its strategy. Although Yang Dingtian randomly slashed at any snake head, he slashed at a wound on each snake head. Therefore, the Hydra gathered all its profound chi energy, evenly distributed it among the 9 snake heads, and carried out the profound chi rebound. The 14th level profound chi energy, divided into 9 parts, was a bit insufficient, and could no longer cause damage to Yang Dingtian. But it was enough to prevent Yang Dingtian's sword from slashing down. So Yang Dingtian could not kill it. Although this was a passive defense, it was very embarrassing for a 14th level Hydra. But in order to save its life, there was no other way. Yang Dingtian sneered again in his heart. You think you can stop me like this? He fiercely circulated his profound chi, condensing the million spirit demon fire on the sword. Suddenly, the terrifying million spirit demon fire burned fiercely on the blade of the Emperor Grade Soul sword, reaching an incomparably high temperature. Swish! Suddenly the sword slashed down. Creak! The Hydra let out a shocking roar, and its huge body crazily slapped the ground. A deep wound was completely melted by the heat. Yang Dingtian could have used this move long ago, but the consumption of profound chi was too great. Then Yang Dingtian thought, if I use the void-rending fire and the million spirit demon fire together, what will happen? Therefore, Yang Dingtian added the transparent void-rending fire to the million spirit demon fire, and then slashed down. Roar! 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 Suddenly, the 14th level Hydra bounced a few thousand meters in pain. Its wound was not only melting, it was also being corroded by the darkness. This Hydra was definitely going to die. Killing it was equivalent to obtaining the energy essence of 9 14th level beasts. And Yang Dingtian was not far from breaking through to the 14th level. Chapter 831. Nothing unexpected happened. Following that, Yang Dingtian easily killed this rank 14 Hydra. Then, 9 rank 14 energy essences floated in the air. To other teams, the Hydra was definitely the most troublesome elemental creature, because not only was it invulnerable, but it was also equivalent to 9 powerful rank 14 creatures. But to Yang Dingtian, it was indeed the best prey. How could there be such a good thing to be able to hunt 9 energy essences in one go? Now there was actually no need to distribute. The rank 14 energy essences definitely belonged to Yang Dingtian. Yang Dingtian immediately synthesized these rank 14 energy essences close to rank 15. In the end, he still synthesized one peak energy essence close to rank 15. There were still 2 ordinary rank 14 energy essences left. Yang Dingtian was just about to sit down and devour the energy essences when Yao Li shouted, "Yang Dingtian, hurry up and leave. There will be people coming soon." Seeing Yao Li and the others, Yang Dingtian said in astonishment, "Didn't I tell you to leave immediately? Why haven't you left yet?" Then, Yang Dingtian's group of 6 quickly headed north, leaving this place at the fastest speed. In fact, Yang Dingtian's luck could be considered excellent, because the Hydra just now was fighting on the ground. It was completely earth-shattering. It could completely attract everyone within a radius of several hundred miles. Therefore, when Yang Dingtian was killing the Hydra just now, Yao Li's group of 6 was practically on full alert in all the nearby areas. If a certain Little Western Paradise team discovered the situation on Yang Dingtian's side, they would charge over. At that time, if they encountered a powerful team, not only would this Hydra be snatched away, but Yang Dingtian and the others would also lose their lives. In the end, when fighting the Hydra, there was no one within a radius of 100 miles. And Yang Dingtian also fought very quickly. The entire process was over in less than 15 minutes. In fact, by the time Yang Dingtian and the others left, less than 15 minutes, a team of more than 10 people had already rushed to the scene. The leader was a half-saint. Looking at the Hydra on the ground, he sighed, "What a pity that we're a bit late. This is a mid-14th order Hydra. Our team can take it down." The person beside him asked, "Young master, which team killed this Hydra?" The leading half-saint said, "Because it's a group that's stronger than ours. We immediately rushed over at full speed after we felt the tremors, but we were still too late. In just a little more than a quarter of an hour, this team killed the 9-headed snake, which shows that they are very powerful. They might be the team of the young masters of the 9 major tribes." The person next to him nodded and said, "Let's hurry up and leave. Otherwise, if the other teams see us and think that we were the ones who killed it, they might try to snatch it." "That's right," the leading half-saint said. "Leave at once. The further the better." In the end, the 2 of them were right. Half an hour later, the 2 teams arrived at the Hydra's corpse one after the other. Without saying a word, they immediately started killing. Blood and flesh flew everywhere, and more than half of them were killed or injured. Yang Dingtian's group of 6 rushed nearly 1,000 miles away. After making sure that it was safe, they began to sit down and devour the energy essence of the 15th order limit. Yao Li's group of 6 spread out in the surroundings to protect Yang Dingtian. Although Yang Dingtian was already at the 8th rank of the 13th order, when the energy essence of the 15th order limit surged in, Yang Dingtian still saw a golden light in front of his eyes and felt dizzy. Then, the surging and powerful energy crazily rushed into his Xian veins and energy sea. Just a quarter of an hour later, boom! Without exception, Yang Dingtian broke through to the 9th rank of the 13th order limit. However, this energy essence was still not exhausted, and there was still a steady flow of energy flowing into his energy sea. However, Before his energy sea could welcome the next expansion, this energy essence of the 15th order limit had already been exhausted. However, Yang Dingtian was already satisfied. Now, Yang Dingtian was only half a step away from the 14th order limit. It could be said that the harvest of the nine-headed snake this time was almost equal to the harvest of the past 2 waves of elemental creatures. Now, Yang Dingtian was really only half a step away from the 14th order limit. Yao Li came over and said, "About 2 to 3 more energy essences of the 15th order limit." Yang Dingtian nodded. In other words, he still needed to hunt about a dozen 14th order elemental creatures. Of course, if he was lucky and encountered a 14th order 9-headed snake again, 2 would be enough at most. If his luck was even better, just 1 high-level 14th order 9-headed snake would be enough for Yang Dingtian to break through to the 14th order limit. However, even if it was a tier 13 energy essence, it wouldn't be useful to Yang Dingtian anymore. Because, in order to break through to the 14th order limit, he had to use energy essences of the 14th order level or above, or he had to use energy essences of the 15th order limit. Therefore, Yang Dingtian could only pray that he would try his best to encounter 14th order elemental creatures in the next period of time. Moreover, it had to be a 14th order one that he could hunt. Let's continue to explore and hunt," Yang Dingtian said. Then, the 6 of them went north again and set off again. However, Yang Dingtian's team didn't manage to reap any rewards until daybreak. For the whole night, they only hunted 1 elemental creature. Soon, the 2 suns rose into the sky, and the whole world began to melt. Yang Dingtian and the others put on their magic crystals and continued to explore. 83 miles to the southwest. Only 4 hours after dawn, the vengeful spirits immediately fluctuated and discovered elemental creatures again. The 6 of them immediately rushed toward their destination. Soon they arrived at their destination. It was a stone golem, a 13th order stone golem. Their luck was really good. Yang Dingtian immediately locked onto it. And then the cold energy of the 6 people bombarded it. Just like that, in less than a quarter of an hour, the 13th order stone golem was immediately shattered and turned into ashes. A 13th order energy essence floated in the air. The 6 of them continued to move forward. Yang Dingtian continued to release countless vengeful spirits, searching inch by inch for elemental creatures. Just like that, even during the slump period of the elemental creatures, Yang Dingtian's team of 6 continued to search and hunt without rest. 2 months passed by in the blink of an eye. Although the frenzy period of the elemental creatures had passed, the harvest of these 2 months was still much better than the previous slump period. On average, they still harvested about 3 elemental creatures every day. In this way, in 2 months, they had hunted and killed 203 elemental creatures. Among them, there were a total of 35 13th order elemental creatures, and 5 of them were synthesized into 14th order energy essences. 2 for Yao Li, 2 for Bo Lu, and 1 for Yao Zi. There were a total of 130 12th order elemental creatures, and 18 of them were synthesized into 13th order energy essences. 8 for Yao Zi, and 5 for the Awen and Awu brothers. Of course, the rest were all below 11th order, and were no longer of much use to the 6 of them. They were all handed over to Yang Dingtian to bring back to the human countries. After devouring these energy essences, Yao Li directly broke through 12th order 9th order, and was just waiting to break through 13th order. After Bo Lu devoured 2 energy essences close to 14th order, he also broke through 12th order 9th order, and was just waiting to break through 13th order. The one with the greatest harvest was still Yao Zi. She first devoured 8 energy essences close to 13th order, and broke through 13th order 9th order 5th order 13th order. Then, she devoured 1 energy essence close to 14th order, and directly broke through 13th order 7th order 13th order. As for the Awen and Awu brothers, after devouring 5 energy essences close to 13th order, they just happened to break through 12th order 4th order. Therefore, there was no doubt that the harvest of these 2 months was very great. However, to Yang Dingtian, It was completely zero harvest, because he did not encounter a 14th order elemental creature that could be destroyed. He did encounter a 14th order Rakshasa, but it was an advanced 14th order Rakshasa. It was very powerful. Yang Dingtian did not choose to take the risk, and immediately left after discovering it. This was because there were only 3 types of 14th order elemental creatures that he could definitely destroy. The first was of course the Devil's Soul, the second was the Flame Demon, and the third was the Hydra. Yang Dingtian did not have confidence in dealing with other 14th order elemental creatures, and would not risk his life. However, he was now in great need of 14th order energy essences, because in order to break through to 14th order, devouring 13th order energy essences was completely useless. Therefore, after 2 whole months of no harvest, he was a little anxious. He had said that he would stay in the second dark realm for at most a year. However, more than half a year had now passed. Yang Dingtian's cultivation could be said to be breaking through at lightning speed, and he was only half a step away from 14th order. However, he was stuck here. Therefore, Yang Dingtian could only keep praying that he would encounter a 14th order Flame Demon or Devil Soul, and the best would be a 14th order Hydra. However, the heavens did not seem to hear Yang Dingtian's prayers. Soon another month had passed. This month, Yang Dingtian's team was still very rich, and they still hunted 100 elemental creatures. Among them, Yao Li broke through to 13th order, and Bo Lu also broke through to 13th order. As for Yao Zi, she was only half a step away from 13th order. The brothers Awen and Awu had also reached 8th order 12th order. Only Yang Dingtian still had no harvest. There were only about 4 months left until Yang Dingtian left. After 4 months, no matter what Yang Dingtian's cultivation was, even if he had not broken through to 14th order, he would still leave the second dark realm and head to the third dark realm. On this day, Yang Dingtian's team continued north to explore. In these few days, Yang Dingtian still had no harvest. He had been without any harvest for more than 100 days. In fact, there was no smile on Yao Zi's face. She was very sad for Yang Dingtian. She had even stupidly refused to take the energy essences. She even suggested that before Yang Dingtian had any harvest, all the energy essences would not be distributed. Yang Dingtian only called Yao Zi a fool in response to her suggestion. As for Yao Li, she did not comfort Yang Dingtian in any way. This was because comforting and feeling sad was something a little girl like Yao Zi should do. To a human leader like Yang Dingtian, 100 days without any harvest was not even a small blow. In fact, although Yang Dingtian was a little anxious, his emotions and expression did not change at all. As for disappointment, it was even more out of the question. Just as the 6 of them were heading north to explore, there was suddenly a strong fluctuation from countless wraiths. 80 miles due north, Yang Dingtian said loudly. Yao Zi said loudly, Mr. Yang Dingtian, it must be a level 14 elemental creature this time, and one that is very easy to kill. I promise. I believe in your intuition, Yang Dingtian said with a smile. Was this Yao Zi's intuition? Of course not. She had said this more than 100 times. Soon, the 6 of them rushed to their destination 80 miles away. As expected, there was a cave. Yang Dingtian took the lead and rushed in quickly. In the end, less than 3,000 meters into the cave, there was suddenly the sound of intense footsteps in front of them. There was someone here? Yang Dingtian frowned, and was about to lead the team out of the cave. In the dark realm, if he found someone in a cave, Yang Dingtian would definitely not want to get into a conflict. He would immediately turn and leave. At this moment, a person suddenly rushed out. His face was filled with fear and shock. He kept shouting, Shadow Demon, a half-saint Shadow Demon, ah! Suddenly, Yang Dingtian was overjoyed. He had not gained anything for 100 days. And now there was a great harvest? A half-saint devil spirit? This was a gift from the heavens. Chapter 832. Yang Dingtian immediately let Yao Li and the others retreat immediately, and then rushed into the depths of the cave. When Yang Dingtian arrived at the bottom of the cave, the killing of the Mo Ling had long stopped. At this time, there were more than a dozen corpses lying on the ground, and each of them had been sucked dry. Moreover, the corpses were no longer complete, but a pile of fragments. The scene of the Mo Ling killing people was extremely terrifying and cruel. The moment Yang Dingtian entered the cave, this Mo Ling suddenly flashed in front of him and directly pounced on Yang Dingtian. Like the previous Mo Ling, the moment this Mo Ling pounced on Yang Dingtian, it wanted to tear him into pieces. But soon, it smelled the scent of another of its kind, and suddenly all its movements stopped. Then, would the Mo Ling let go of a low level of its kind? No, it wouldn't. The Mo Ling didn't recognize its own kind. When it encountered a low level of its kind, it would immediately shatter its body and then devour it alive. Then why didn't this Mo Ling attack Yang Dingtian? It was very simple, because it smelled a familiar scent, but also an unfamiliar one. Therefore, it couldn't be sure whether Yang Dingtian was a Mo Ling or not. If Yang Dingtian was a Mo Ling, it would directly tear him apart and then devour him. If Yang Dingtian wasn't a Mo Ling, it would do the same. However, when it couldn't figure it out, it would fall into an eternal dilemma. In its incomparably simple mind, there would always be a question hovering. This thing in front of it was a Mo Ling? Not a Mo Ling? Just like that, it would repeat forever. This kind of brutal creature, although incomparably powerful and completely a bug, was also the stupidest creature. Yang Dingtian avoided its eyes and carefully observed this Mo Ling, looking at the energy light on its body. This was not a demi-saint level Mo Ling, because it wasn't completely golden, and there was still a little blood red. If one didn't pay attention, it would be really difficult to notice. In other words, it wasn't level 15, but it was the limit of level 14. That meant that after Yang Dingtian got its energy essence, he didn't need to synthesize it, and directly reached level 15. The person who ran out just now shouted demi-saint level shadow demon. Obviously, he didn't see it clearly, but at this critical moment, it was impossible to see it clearly. As soon as he saw the golden color, he thought it was a demi-saint level. But even if it wasn't a demi-saint level, it was enough to make Yang Dingtian smack his lips. This should be the strongest and highest class demon spirit that Yang Dingtian had ever seen. The last one seemed to be level 11. Once again, it was a demi-saint level shadow demon, and directly on the ground. Although this demi-saint level, a demi-saint level demi-saint of the demi-saint level demi-saint demi-heaven demi-saint level demi-saint. Yang Dingtian began his life as a coolie. That's right, he was definitely a coolie. He used a soul sword close to the emperor grade to chop off the demon spirit's thin limbs. It took a full half an hour, tens of thousands of slashes, and a tremendous amount of strength to cut off Mo Ling's limbs. Yang Dingtian suspected that if the devil spirit's level was any higher, even his near-emperor grade soul sword wouldn't be able to cut it. After the demonic spirit's limbs were cut off, it no longer had any lethality. At this time, Yang Dingtian summoned Yao Li and the others in. Then the 6 of them started to work hard. They poured in all their profound qi and started to bombard this demon spirit. It took him more than an hour to do so. That's right, there were 6 of them. After a full hour, Yang Dingtian's Xian Qi recovered twice and finally completely destroyed the energy passport of this demon spirit. Then Yang Dingtian quickly put its body into the energy cloak. This was a demonic spirit close to the half-step saint level. Its entire body was full of treasures. Unfortunately, Yang Dingtian didn't know how to make things like the demon spirit black armor and demon spirit mist cloak. Otherwise, just this demonic spirit close to the 15th level would be enough to make something that wasn't inferior to Yang Dingtian's demon spirit mist cloak and demon spirit black armor. Finally, Yang Dingtian looked at the energy essence close to the 15th level floating in the air. It wasn't easy. After a full 100 days without any harvest, there was finally one close to the 15th level. Mr. Yang Dingtian, my intuition is accurate, right? If I say it's a 14th level shadow demon, then it's a 14th level shadow demon, Yao Li said excitedly. You're amazing, young Dingtian said with a smile. Then he put this demonic crystal close to the 15th level into the energy jade box. The 6 of them left the cave with their fastest speed. That was because every cave was dangerous. In a place far away from the cave, the 6 of them used their fastest time to recover their profound chi, and once again entered the next hunt. However, all the harvest that night had come to an end. They didn't find any elemental creatures. Soon it was daytime again. The 6 of them put on their sunglasses again and began to search for new elemental creatures in the countless magma. Only 4 hours later, the countless wraiths once again produced a huge fluctuation. In the southeast direction, 98 miles away, the 6 of them advanced at full speed. After spending a full 15 minutes, they arrived at their destination. Then Yang Dingtian was stunned. Was good luck contagious? How could they have just killed a 15th level demonic spirit last night and encountered a 14th level mid-grade flame demon during the day? At this moment, Yao Li and the others didn't need Yang Dingtian's instructions at all. The 5 of them immediately retreated and escaped as far as they could with their fastest speed. This was because the 5 of them couldn't cause any harm to the flame demon at all. Moreover, there was magma everywhere now. The flame demon had an endless supply of energy, but when Yang Dingtian wasn't even at the 10th rank, he was already able to eliminate an 11th rank flame demon. Now that he was at the 13th level, killing a 14th level mid-grade flame demon was a piece of cake. Sure enough, Yang Dingtian was completely calm and collected. He flashed quickly, dodging any of the flame demon's attacks. Then, he directly fused the demonic spirit demon fire and void-rending fire and launched an attack at this 14th level flame demon. Roar! When it was hit by the first attack, the flame demon didn't care at first. But when it discovered that an unrecoverable black hole had appeared on its body, it directly let out a furious roar. Then, this flame demon fell into a berserk state. Roar! Roar! Its huge body crazily slammed everything on the ground, crazily spitting out tens of thousands of degrees of flames. The terrifying flames instantly devoured all the space within a few hundred meters in front of it. As long as one was hit, it would basically turn into ashes. But under Yang Dingtian's flash art, it would be strange if one could be hit. Yang Dingtian seemed to be strolling leisurely, flashing and moving around quickly, constantly bursting out hybrid mystic fire. The black holes on the 14th level flame demon's body became more and more numerous. In the end, its huge body could no longer support itself. Roar! Roar! Amidst an incomparably unwilling roar, it suddenly shattered into pieces, turning into countless blazing flames and falling into the magma all over the ground. Then, a 14th level energy essence floated in the air. Yang Dingtian quickly went over and collected it. Yang Dingtian's luck seemed to have run out. In the following 2 long months, he once again had no harvest. And the team's harvest also somewhat declined. This time, in 2 months, the 6-person team only hunted 135 elemental creatures. But the good news was that among them, there were a total of 85 13th level energy creatures. Of course, this also had to do with them giving up on low-level elemental creatures. In these 2 months, Yaozi also broke through to 13th level, reaching 13th level 2nd rank. The 2 brothers, Awen and Awu, also broke through to 13th level. And Yaoli reached 13th level 4th rank. Bolu also reached 13th level 4th rank. The gap between these 5 people had already been gradually narrowed. In the face of this result, Awen and Awu were completely unable to imagine it. Their only mission in the Dark Realm was to protect Yaozi and to be her sparring partner. It was normal for them to have no harvest. Under normal circumstances, they could only harvest energy essences that their master did not want. Therefore, before entering the Dark Realm, they had set their goal to break through to 11th level in 200 years. Now in just 2 years they had broken through to 13th level. This was completely unimaginable. And as their master, Yao Zi's goal in entering the Dark Realm was only to break through to 13th level in 200 years. As for Yao Li's goal, it was to break through to 14th level in 200 years. As for Bo Lu, he did not set a goal. He entered the dark realm purely to protect and accompany. And now, because of Yang Dingtian's existence, the five people's harvest had completely exceeded the harvest under normal circumstances. This was really too crazy. Therefore, there was no need for Yao Li to say anything. When Yang Dingtian returned to the human countries, the five of them would definitely follow him. This was because 80% of their harvest had come from Yang Dingtian, or even more. If not for Yang Dingtian, they would not even have 1/10 of their current harvest. At this time, there were only 3 months left to the 1-year period that Yang Dingtian had set. 3 months later, no matter what his cultivation was, he would have to leave the second dark realm. Now, Yang Dingtian no longer held any hope of breaking through to half-saint in the second dark realm, because it was simply impossible. 14th level elemental creatures were already so rare, not to mention 15th and 16th level. And to break through to 15th level, he would need close to 16th level energy essences. This was a huge number. When the time came, Yang Dingtian would have to hunt not 1 or 2 15th level energy creatures, nor 10 or 20 but hundreds of them, unless there was another Great Taboo Day. However, Yao Li had said that the Great Taboo Day only happened once every 33 years. Therefore, there was no need to hold on to this hope. Now, Yang Dingtian only had one hope, and that was to break through to 14th level in 3 months. As for the remaining 15th level, he hoped to break through in the third dark realm. Then in the next 3 months, he hoped to hunt enough flame demons, hydras or demon spirits. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.